All right, looks like we're live. I'm here as I almost always am with the Tails and Knuckles, Tails and Knuckles to my Sonic, Artistic Layman and Undertow.
Hello, hello. Hello, everyone.
I butchered that opening. So a lot to talk about this week. A lot to cover. There's the Golden Globes. Trump putting that CNN faggot in his place. The Switch reveal from a couple nights ago, that was a big thing. A lot to talk about this week, but I would like to start by reading an article, if I may.
Oh yes.
Let's bring this up here and we can discuss this article here. This is over at theslate.com by a gentleman named Matt Braum, I believe is how you pronounce his name. But the article is entitled "How Can Literature Resist Islamophobia?" Actually, no, I want to read the kind of advertisement for the article first. Looking for a book to help resist the Trump era? Try this gay immigrant Muslim furry romance. Well, I can't wait.
Why won't it stop? Why won't it stop?
It never stops. You just carry on and carry on.
It's getting worse.
Like the left is like, why do we keep losing? How to resist? How can literature resist Islamophobia? One writer answers: gay Muslim furry romance. Okay, if that's really your answer, how much did you wager there, contestant? All right. I can't pronounce this guy's name. It's Kyell, so Kel, just spelled all funny. Kel Gold's new novel may lie at the most unlikely intersection in literary history: a gay immigrant Muslim romance involving furries. That is, people who feel a close identification with anthropomorphic animal characters, otherwise known as the people who have ruined several of your favorite cartoons.
My cartoons.
Otherwise known as fur fags.
I wrote this book as part of a wave of in part as a response to the wave of Islamophobia in this country. By the way, the definition of Islamophobia is the rational fear of getting your head cut off. Gold explains in author's notes, never dreaming at the time it would crest as it has now. The time he desires is the story of Aziz, a cheetah in a flattering heterosexual marriage, who explores the boundaries of his sexuality with the help of a gay fox. Aziz
is it any coincidence that the main character's name sounds a little bit like Azazel?
Aziz,
satanic world we live in. Jesus.
Aziz is a Sudanese immigrant, and he engages in a struggle with his desire that will be familiar to queer readers. By the way, do you remember when queer was like their version of the N-word? Like, I can't keep up with this shit. Gold's been writing furry romance novels full-time for several years. Full-time! This is a 40-hour job week. This is what he does for a living. After bouncing from chemical engineering to business school to zoology, he was laid off in 2010 with a generous severance package. His husband said, "If you're going to be a full-time writer, this is the time to start."
Well, at least he's sticking with the first rule of writing: write what you know.
God fucking damn it.
One of the themes.
Throne of Terror, may the Emperor preserve me.
One of the themes of my stories from very early on has been the conflict between people who realize they're gay and a society that has problems with that sexuality, Gold said. We sure it's not Goldberg.
So tired. so tired. I just wanted to stop.
Though his previous books have touched on Christianity, I know that
I'm sure they have. I'm sure they've touched on lots of I'm sure they touched it really inappropriately and then got reported to the police for it.
I know that Islam is not necessarily tolerant towards homosexuals.
You don't say. Oh, I hadn't heard. This is a shocking revelation from the Gimfer here. Gay immigrant Muslim furry romance. That's going to be my new go-to insult. Gimfer.
This game was so terrible, I'd rather read a Gimfer.
Yeah.
Patent.
I don't even want the royalties for that. You can have the word.
Oh, here we go. I gotta cut down some here for my own sanity. Here we go. In fact, the furry fandom may be among the best possible community to expand religious tolerance.
I need something stronger than beer. I need something stronger than beer tonight. I'm dying inside a little bit every second.
Okay,
Every syllable on this page.
We end this by saying, by and large, I would have to say that furries are among the most tolerant people you could hope to meet. I do expect to be disowned en masse by my family. This is apparently a gay Muslim saying this at this point. When I finally get around to telling them about my conversion, whereas I still have furry friends, so there's that. There's that, all right.
Because furries are so fucking weird. They don't even they're not even confused by things like that anymore.
Somebody in the chat says, "What's a furry?"
Save yourself.
Your sweet innocence.
Save yourself, my child.
So yeah, if you're looking to finally stump the Trump, then you need to check out this gay furry immigrant romance.
Formerly known as Gimfer.
And surely the Trump is stumped now. Whatever will he do? Now that there is a book about a gay immigrant Muslim furry romance. Okay. I couldn't even get through that article. There's no
just fucking kill me. Come to my house, jam a syringe into my arm, and let me embrace the sweet sleep.
Did you know that Islam is not necessarily tolerant of homosexuals?
I hadn't heard. I was unaware.
People in Orlando recently became aware.
Like it just doesn't stop. I thought it was going to keep being funny, but we passed that point a while ago. This isn't even sad. This is like looking into the jaws of the abyss and just having nothingness look back at you.
Oh, hey Cthulhu, how you doing?
Why though?
Fun fact about this author: he once opened the book, and Pinhead said, "Oh Jesus," and then just walked backwards out of the room.
What? No introduction?
We have such sights to. Oh, damn! Just slowly backed up out of the room.
The thing is, I've read stories from these people. Okay, I've seen this stuff before. Like I've been on my probably more than you guys have. I've been on my own share of deep web, not deep web, but weird web expeditions, and I have read stories where like Kafka's Metamorphosis, people slowly turn into feminine pads. They're like a wear tampon. And this is now a community that has its authors being plastered on quote unquote mainstream news sites.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, nobody reads
doesn't.
Slate.
It doesn't. Whatever you're going to say, it does not make me feel better. I don't understand how it could just keep going.
Well, to further bring about your despair, Sunday was the Golden Globes. Now, I didn't watch the Golden Globes because I'm not a faggot, but apparently a lot of people did. And in it, Meryl Streep was given the Lifetime Achievement Award. And rather than, like most decent, honorable people would be, say, I'm very humbled by this award and perhaps, discuss, your body of work, she decided, let's bitch about Trump and defend Hollywood and the media. Oh, bunch of journalists and actors in here. Oh, we're so hated. Yeah, oh, gee, maybe take a moment to think about why. So she rambles on about how awesome immigration is because, a bunch of people in Hollywood aren't from America. And if you throw all them out, you're going to have nothing to watch but MMA and football. Or she said, but football.
How about we watch none of that shit?
She said, but football and mixed martial arts, which are not the arts. I'm like, sweetie, Hollywood has recently put out films like Hollywood's working on an emoji movie, so don't lecture me about the fucking arts, all right?
Oh God, I forgot about the emoji. This just doesn't end.
You don't fucking lecture me about the arts, all right? Hollywood wouldn't have been able to make a dime this past fucking year if not for Star Wars and Marvel Comics. So don't fucking lecture me about Hollywood's superior storytelling abilities. Beating the dead horse that is Star Wars and digging through 50 years of Marvel Comics for things to make into movies is all Hollywood has left.
It's moments like this, I sincerely hope that we have really reached our critical peak and we're just stuck. So there's no excuse for this level of stupidity.
Oh, Hollywood's on borrowed time at this point. That much is apparent. So she rambles on and just, it's a typical liberal play the victim bullshit when you've been, she's sitting here she's like, there was one performance this year that really upset me. And that's when Trump did the hand motion about the fucking, cripple reporter or whatever. And it's like, well, first of all, Meryl Streep is upset because this is a better performance than she's given in decades. But also, she's all like, oh, you can't bully people. Some people have dug up immediately afterwards. She was at some sort of function or something where she's dressed in a fat suit pretending to be Trump. Like she's got probably Cheeto dust all over her fucking face. Who knows? But you hypocritical bitch. And then, of course, bring up the picture of Vince and Mel if you could, Luke, because this. Oh yes. This is the picture of two men who are coming to grips with what must be done. If you could look into their head, you would see nothing but helicopters flying off in the distance. Like these men are like right there. You can almost hear Vince whispering, "Mel, you were right."
Yeah. Yeah, Mel Brooks or Mel Gibson just leans forward and says, "See, I told you. I warned you about this."
But so a bunch of liberals promptly attacked Mel for not, singing
the praises loud enough.
Not fucking standing up and applauding. And I thought to myself, I'm hard pressed to think of a bad Mel Gibson movie.
Oh yeah, nope.
I mean, I can think of some ones that maybe weren't the best thing ever, but I enjoyed them. And then I thought to myself, I'm hard-pressed to think of one fucking thing Meryl Streep's even been in that I've given two shits about. Because as I stated earlier, I'm a heterosexual male. So I decided, well, let's give Miss Streep the benefit of the doubt here, and let's whip up her IMDb page, right? So I'm scrolling through, and they got, personal quotes and shit right here. So they got the 16... the 16 movies she was paid the most for, apparently, right? So let's go through these. This is, I guess you could say, the pinnacle of her career, right? Okay, so we got in 1978, The Deer Hunter. A lot of people like that film. I'm not much of a war movie guy, if I'm being honest with you, but I've heard a lot of people say they like it. Kramer versus Kramer, overrated as fuck. The French Lieutenant's Woman, I don't believe I've ever even heard of that. Falling in Love, Out of Africa, Postcards from the Edge. None of those I've heard about. Death Becomes Her. Now, that actually was a pretty damn good movie. Not really because of Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep was not the milkshake that brought all the boys to the yard here. But pretty funny movie, if you ask me. Bruce Willis was great in it. I think it was Goldie Hawn was the other actress in it. She was great. Pretty damn good funny movie. If you haven't seen Death Becomes Her, I actually recommend it. After that, we got The River Wild, The Bridges of Madison County, The Devil Wears Prada, Rendition, Julie and Julia, It's Complicated, The Iron Lady, Into the Woods, and Ricky and the Flash. So out of 16 listed movies here, which are supposedly the pinnacle of the career, I'm going to be generous, even though I don't give a damn about Deer Hunter, and say two aren't shit. So that's an eighth. That's a 1/8 batting average you got there, sweetie. That's just over 12%.
By the way, they didn't give you that award for being a really good actor for a very long time. They just gave you an award for being a known actor for a long time. That's what that award is for. It says, "Hey, people have known about you for a very long time, but you never won anything. Here's your consolation prize, you piece of shit."
Oh, I do remember her from my personal favorite, which is Fantastic Mr. Fox. But now I look in the list that says that she's going to be in Mary Poppins Returns in 2018.
There is no justice in this world.
That's a bold statement to assume that she's not going to be in Gitmo in 2018.
Is she supposed to be gone by now?
Trump is too fair-minded for that. That's the problem.
Yeah, but I'm beginning to think these people aren't going to give him a choice. But yeah, out of a list of 16 of her supposedly top movies here, Death Becomes Her is the only one I recommend. And I don't recommend it because of her.
Or anything else. I mean, I know a lot of people who like her and the things she's done in like Into the Woods or The Giver, but she's not the reason you go see these movies.
She was in
Ever.
The Giver?
Yeah,
I don't remember being in that movie.
Oh yeah, she was the one in charge, the woman in charge of everything. But you could barely tell.
I never saw The Giver, but I actually read it as a kid and really, really liked it. So,
yes,
the surprisingly good condemnation of the modern liberal idea set.
Oh yeah,
The movie was not that good, but the story is.
Oh yeah, The Giver is a great.
There was one good line in the movie where they're talking about love, and because the boy's being informed about what love was and what it's about, and so he asks his adopted dad, "Dad, do you love me?" And the woman goes, "Watch your careful use of language."
Yeah.
All right. So the Golden Globes, that was Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn have become a meme because that's the face of two men that are realizing what must be done. Mm. You could see in their eyes. You could see them getting pulled rightward. All of us are getting pushed rightward by the insanity of the left. There's only so many gay, immigrant, Muslim, furry romances you can behold until you're ready to fire up the ovens.
I'm ready to fire up the exterminatus. Kidding me? This planet is too far gone. Forces of chaos have gripped us firmly. Repent, my brothers.
Amen.
That's the war
claim it appears that way because the forces of chaos have the media.
At least Slanesh does.
Hey, Bechtloff, is there any way to adapt this to other than the Amish?
What's this?
Is there any way to adapt this to other? Yeah.
I promise I won't get all political. 3 drinks later.
Boom.
Oh, fuck those people, seriously. But anyways, the other thing I want to talk about, and I actually got to see this live. I feel so blessed this week. I was sitting in Subway on my lunch break at work when this press conference happened. For those of you that haven't been paying attention this week, 4chan made up some bullshit story about Trump hiring hookers to do some fucking water sports in Russia, which is insanely debunked. I mean, this could not be more. And yet the same people that want to say there's nothing to see here with Pizzagate are like, well, this is obviously the gospel truth handed down from heaven. Well, BuzzFeed ran with this, and then CNN ran with what BuzzFeed ran with. And I mean, other liberal institutions are like, yeah, don't touch that. That's obviously a bad idea to run with that story. It's demonstrably false. But BuzzFeed gives no fucks because they have no souls. And then CNN, same thing. So Trump gets out there for this press conference that was regularly scheduled about some other shit anyways. And he just went out there and basically flat out said, CNN is an outright lying institution. He was just tearing into him. He kind of hinted he was going to sue BuzzFeed.
He should.
Yes, he should. I kind of think he should just arrest them all and send them to Gitmo. But okay, whatever. One day all the people at BuzzFeed disappeared. It was really tragic. We think ISIS did it. So this faggot here pictured stands up and like, Mr. Trump, can you give a question since you attacked our organization? And he's like, no questions from you. And he's trying to get a question from somebody else. And it's like, Mr. Trump, can you give us a question since you attacked our organization? He's like, your organization is terrible. Mr. Trump, sir. And if Trump's like, hey, that's rude. She has a question. Like, don't try to talk over her. And then finally, he's like, you're fake news. Sit down. And he's like, Mr. President-elect, that's not appropriate. I like how Ann Sturzinger had the funniest way to put this on Facebook, where she says, in quotes, Mr. President-elect, that's not appropriate. And then she like attributes the quote to some guy who was trying to talk over some lady. Oh no, a liar who was trying to talk over some lady. But yeah, like,
I think that shows you right there what I've been saying for a while, which is that the media has controlled our society for damn well near a decade, to the point where they think they have the power to tell the president-elect of the United States what is and is not appropriate. Some fucking 20-something intern thinks that he has the fucking weight to throw around to tell the president-elect of the United Goddamn States of America what is and is not appropriate. That makes me unfathomably angry.
I work for CNN, and Trump went up to him and touched his cheek and said, "And this gives you a power over me? Do you feel in charge?" And this is why we needed Trump more than any other Republican. Never mind who could win, all that other bullshit. This is why he was needed. More so than any policy he was ever going to put in place. We needed him to put the media back in their fucking place.
I know we're used to calling CNN the Clinton News Network, but can we still call it Citation Needed Network?
I was thinking either the Cucks News Network or the Communist News Network. But yeah, that works too. Citation Needed Network. Let me bring up something here. This was in response to this this incident. Mundane Matt, and really, to paraphrase Razorfist, what can you say about Mundane Matt that isn't preceded by the phrase, "I can't believe I used to watch"?
I got one. I never watched.
I know, Undertow. Hipster points intensify with you.
No, not hipster points. This is not hipster points. This is recognizing a con artist when you see one points.
I was hating Mundane Matt before it was cool.
Turn off that pesky ad block.
So, Mr. Turn Off That Pesky Ad Block tweeted this on January 11th, shortly after this incident, I believe. Trump threw a tantrum at CNN reporter. And when Fox News has to defend CNN, you know Trump done goofed. Surely this will stump the Trump. Going after the media and their mighty 6% approval rating. That's going to do it.
Does Matt not know what a tantrum looks like?
It looks a lot like screaming at your fans and saying, "Turn off the ad block. I want to make money." That's what it looks like.
Telling
that's
someone
what he's
who is lying about you that you're not interested in speaking to them is not a fucking tantrum. Oh, by the way, Matt, isn't the whole reason anybody outside of a handful of semi-normie gamer fags know who the hell you are is because of a little thing called Gamergate? And wasn't a little thing called Gamergate all about trying to get people to recognize how utterly filled to the goddamn brim with weapons grade horse shit the journalists and media are. You fucking cuck. Like, I used to, like, I never found him entertaining, but I used to think, okay, well, he's out there, he's fighting a good fight, whatever. Okay, yeah, the ad block thing was stupid, but everybody likes to get, you know, fucking ads on their videos, whatever. No, fuck this guy. Fuck this cuck, all right? Like, I'm starting to soften my opinion on Sargon because he is slowly de-cucking himself lately. I don't know if you all have noticed this, but he's making helicopter jokes and shit. I don't know if he's just realizing this is where his audience is, this is where the real audience is, or if he's really growing a pair of balls. Either way, I like it. I hope, yeah, I would like to see, yeah, I'd like to see him have his road to Damascus moment. Fuck Mundane Matt, though. You know what? I used to think like Jim, Internet Aristocrat, and Blackface Kermit and all. I used to think, man, they're just being too hard on him. No, they were dead right the whole fucking time. They were dead right on this guy. One of the most red-pilled motherfuckers around. If you haven't watched the intro video for Matt's channel that Blackface Kermit made him, like, obviously Matt never put it on his channel, but I highly recommend it.
Need to get up and watch all that Blackface Kermit stuff. I never really caught up with him.
His stuff's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, speaking of guys whose stuff is really good and they don't do a lot, Empty Hero has a 2016 year in review video out. So when you're done checking this out, I highly recommend it because, wow. It's funny too. Like I was at Wendy's today for lunch with my dad because, you know, that is the official hamburger of choice for us alt-right folks. Mm-hmm. And like I played it on my phone for him, and he's like, okay, I didn't get some of the gamer references, but the rest of that was fucking hilarious. Who is that guy? And I'm like, no one knows. he's like Batman.
He's the Legend 27.
He's like Batman. He just swoops down from the shadows to drop a video.
Oh no! I found the Black Kermit image.
Wait, that's Mundane Matt's avatar there, or his
Should I switch? I mean, should I switch to it? I mean,
okay. Is it?
I don't know what it is.
Has it got nudity? I mean, are we gonna get?
Well, there's backside nudity and excrement.
Okay, it's the cartoon thing. Okay, you can show that. That's not gonna get us in trouble.
Oh.
So one of these guys was like, okay, so it was Rich from Review Tech USA, I think, and then what the fuck is his name?
Total Biscuit.
Who was another one that I only kind of liked because I felt I was supposed to, but I never enjoyed his videos.
I used to like him well enough as a PC reviewer, but he just got so cucked so fast.
And of course, we got Shekel Sanchez here.
Yeah, $7 Sanchez. I got $7.
You know, I have to admit with him, like, he has a really good energy about him. And when you don't know anything about him, like, initially you kind of want to like
charisma.
Him. Yeah. And I feel like if he would have teamed up with somebody who was writing his show and knew what the fuck they were talking about, he would be a pretty good, like, he'd be a huge star. You know what I mean? He'd possibly be on TV and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But whatever. I guess he's eking out a living doing what he does.
Yeah.
Baby bird needs more food. Like Monday, Matt throws up a fucking Amazon wish list, like buy me shit.
And what is on that list? I see Big Hero Zix and Attack the Block, and
I mean, I don't know.
Terrible movies.
Like, okay, I
Hero
like
6 is a good movie. I lied.
Like, I have a donation button, okay? But I'm sorry, I think I'd feel a little weird just putting up my Amazon wish list. Like just buy me presents. I don't know why.
They do that so they can get around like the taxable income thing because they're gifts.
Huh.
That's why they do that.
Oh, well, then maybe that's a good idea. Okay. Next
Yeah.
week, my Amazon wish list.
Yeah, it's a tax thing.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Then I actually respect it. If you're fucking
looks over the government.
if you're fucking a tax man, then all right. I retract my
Can't be all bad.
I retract my previous concern. So all right, so that was some thoughts from one of the most red-pilled motherfuckers around. Let's see, what else did we want to talk about this week? Oh, and by the way, do message me on the Skype there, as Chris Cantwell likes to say. I will be taking callers this week, so by all means. I guess. Oh, I know what else I want to. I'll throw this into the. I'll throw this into the chat, Luke, so you can bring up the picture in it. But we'll file this under We Was Lady Liberty.
Oh yeah.
So the government's putting out a new Lady Liberty coin, and one step closer to utopia here, folks. It is going to be a black woman as Lady Liberty. Yeah, because we all know that black-run places in this world are bastions of liberty and small government. We all know that.
Yeah.
They had advanced civilization when we was in caves and shit. Anyways, what I kind of found interesting about this was Luke, you got the picture up? Yeah. Okay. So you often hear this from leftists, right? Like when they're describing race and they're like, I'm not going to judge a man just from the amount of melatonin in his skin. And yes, ideally you judge people as individuals first, all that good shit. But race matters. But here's the other interesting thing about that. If like take your hand on the screen and cover up even her hair, right? You could still see that's a black woman.
Mm-hmm.
And yet that image isn't in color. Why? But I thought that the only difference between black and white women was the color of their skin.
No, that's only in anime.
If you were to say someone had black facial features, you'd get called a racist. And yet this coin is apparently saying that. It kind of shoots in the ass that leftist talking point that race is just about skin color. Because again, that's clearly a black woman. Even the hair aside. White women can dreadlock their hair. They just don't because they have better hair. But
they also respect themselves a little bit more.
They can do that. But even you cover up the hair, that's still clearly a black woman. So yeah, I found that mildly interesting. So the other thing that happened this week, I think is worth talking about, is of course the Switch reveal.
Oh boy, something I want to talk about.
Yeah, Undertow's so burned out. Undertow's so burned out on politics this week. But for those of you that didn't listen, I was on Pastor Tom's channel with Undertow.
Mm-hmm.
And we basically live streamed throughout the reveal. Now, there's a few things I found interesting. A lot of it I didn't because, look, it was a Japanese audience they were primarily in front of. And that's why this reveal was so late. It was 10:30 at night, Eastern time. But, it was like, here's JRPG, the JRPG game, which features some mopey teenager whose outfit is like 60% belts. Like, I don't give a shit, all right? I don't care. I just don't care. But there was a lot of, look, they showcased the hardware. They sold me on the hardware a lot. And look, I was in a position where I was kind of in like a fuck Nintendo mood because my gamepad on my Wii U is recently started to die. It has like 4 feet of fucking range on it right now. Like, it's almost useless. and I'm going to have to get a new gamepad basically or something. I'm going to have to get in touch with Nintendo on a system that's already dead, you know, and I miss the days when Nintendo used to build shit to last, you know. I mean,
Yeah,
you could drop a fucking GameCube out of like X-Play literally did a video back when X-Play was a thing. I'm showing my age here, where they did stress tests to a PS2, an original Xbox, and a GameCube, and see, you know, how much abuse it could take and still boot up. And the GameCube lasted the longest by a wide margin. The other two, I think the PS2 like died the first test or something. But I mean, they're dropping this thing down the steps and shit like that. Meanwhile, you know, my Wii bricked back in 2013. I had actually just had a move. I think it might have been late 2012. I just had a move. I dug it out of the closet. It wouldn't boot up. That's when I finally broke down and got the Wii U. And now the Wii U gamepad's died. Like, look, I expect that sort of bullshit from Microsoft and shit, all right? You know, the Red Ring of Death and all. I expect better from you, Nintendo. But it looks like a lot more thought, a lot more R&D, a lot more quality design is being put into this hardware. Now, obviously, you know, they're not going to, you know, you're not going to be able to get, you know, glean that much durability out of seeing this. But the mere fact that they put so much into it, you know what I mean, tells me that I think they're correcting some mistakes from both the Wii and the Wii U here. This system feels in many ways like both what the Wii and the Wii U should have been. Like a true like taking the good parts of those systems and evolving them to something special.
Well, they did this thing at the very beginning where they talked about how, we've infused it with DNA from every one of the previous consoles, but it actually feels like that.
Yeah,
it didn't seem like that was just a talking point.
And to be fair, that bit was kind of because you're talking about like the Nintendo revolutionized games and the Game Boy brought games on the go, and it was basically also like a brief reminder that, hey, never forget we are the fucking video game industry. You know, never forget that this whole goddamn industry is here because we willed it to be so.
Yeah,
we raised it from the dead. We made it what it is today. And we will be the ones to turn off the lights when this industry dies.
We will tell you when games are over.
Yeah. Like that was them puffing their chest a little bit. And after the past two generations, I think they needed to, you know, what was that speech from that one movie with Christopher Walken in it, where every once in a while the lion needs to remind everybody he's the fucking king. But look, they had a bigger trailer for Breath of the Wild with a release date, which it will be available at launch, and they were kind of saying it might not for a while there. They had a trailer for the new Mario game, which looked fantastic, and I got to say, Nintendo, you had me at Bowser in a pimp suit. Luke, if you could throw that up, that's just wow. I'm like, yes,
oh, so good.
Yes, that is.
And
yes.
I'm
better have my coins.
I'm a little iffy on the art design of. There's a section where they have Mario in a place that looks like New York City, and he's next to some realistically proportioned people. That's not exactly a good idea, as Sonic Adventure very memorably showed us.
Well, I think
like the gameplay of it that they showed looks so on point that I don't think it's actually going to matter that much.
Yeah, and it's sort of, I guess the story of this looks like Mario is traveling from alternate dimensions.
Something along those lines. Not in those terms, but yeah.
Different realms, as it were. And one of those realms, I guess, is kind of the quote-unquote real world. But I still, the gameplays in it, look, I mean, Nintendo did exactly what they needed to do there. They said, here's our two biggest franchises, and here are some, you know, here's some awesome entries in both these franchises for this new system.
Yep. Now, unfortunately, they did say when they revealed it, they showed that Mario Odyssey is not coming out until next holiday season or next Christmas, basically.
Well, I think partly they're expecting that a large chunk of the the NX or NX, Switch, large chunk of the Switch sales are going to happen in theory in Christmas. You know, a game system is A game system's a big fucking buy. You know.
Yeah, but the adult gamers that they're targeting with their marketing campaign are going to get it at release, and that's smart because they don't need to advertise to the little kids. You know, the families know. Oh, it's a new Nintendo thing. I'll probably want to get that. You know, you don't need to convince them.
Yeah, and plus, kids, you know, kids want to feel cooler, so kids like it. Like when you were a kid, I'm sure you loved it. You loved nothing more than when your dad or an older cousin or something also liked the thing you like. Because it makes it feel so much more legit to you.
Yeah,
you know?
kid, I like Mario too.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Quote
so
Movie Bob.
Little kid wants, well, yeah, that's Movie Bob trying to lure kids. But like a little kid wants to see adults playing Mario in a commercial on TV because he feels cooler doing it. Because kids always want to be adults. That's the curse of human nature, you know. Adults want to be kids, and kids want to be adults. Youth is wasted on the young. So yeah, there was that. There was a lot of JRPG stuff, which I didn't give a damn about, but that shit sells units, so good on them.
Plus, that it was Japan that they were giving this presentation to. So,
speaking of knowing your audience, in an effort to show that we're going to have some more third-party support, they brought out the EA guy, right? Now, obviously, EA has a lot of sports titles. Does EA do Madden? Is that them?
Yeah, that's EA Sports.
Okay, I thought it was EA, but they have most of the sports titles. And you would think, being in front of a Japanese audience, you'd go with like Major League Baseball, right? That Japan loves baseball. Sometimes they seem to love it more than we do, even. Or maybe, I don't know, do they got any racing games, like car racing games? Japan love, they love to race their little race rockets all over the place. Nope. They went out there and decided to showcase, like, what, FIFA 2018? The fucking soccer game.
Yeah.
They showcased the soccer game. Look, Japan, for those of you not familiar with this, Japan may be the one place in the world that gives less of a shit about fucking poverty ball than the United States. All right? You couldn't see the audience, but you could feel them not giving a fuck. You could almost see it reflected on this guy's face. Like, it's practically like, opening up his collar, like, is this thing on? Like, you could tell he was standing in front of a sea of stone faces. Like, damn EA. Like, that was stupid.
Yeah.
Like, maybe when the people in Europe see it, they're going to be all about it and shit. But man, you didn't help your case in Japan any, that's for sure. I mean, bring the baseball game out. How did you fuck that up? How did nobody say, like, hey, let's show our soccer game? Aren't you going to Japan? Take the baseball one. Well, it's not as done. I don't care. Just show them something with baseball. Just bring a fucking baseball and promise them a baseball game. That'll go over better.
I mean, that's basically what he did. They didn't show a single screenshot. They might as well have just been standing there with a soccer ball saying, hey, we're going to make this a video game.
It's not like that's just something you can go outside and do.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't. I've never been a sports game fan. I mean, just I can go outside and throw a ball around. I don't.
Everyone else around me was, and these were people who watched football on their free time.
Yeah, well, nobody in Japan was going to give a fuck about a fucking soccer game. So, let's see.
Yeah.
By the way, and let's see. Anybody want to message me on Skype? Please do so, because we're gonna be taking callers here. But yeah, Nintendo sold me on this. I'm gonna get my. I'm gonna get my Wii. My Switch. I keep wanting to say Wii U than NX than Switch. But no, I'll probably be getting the Switch. I might get it even in March. I think I might, put my tax return towards it. It's $300, which is fair.
Same as Wii U was when it came out.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, you know.
And looking at the stats for like the size interested me. It's a 6.2-inch screen on the tablet thing, so it's actually only a little bit bigger than my cell phone. I did not expect it to be that small. I thought it was going to be just based on the way it looked, the width of it and all. I expected it to be bigger, I guess. I expected it to be kind of the size of the Wii U tablet, actually. But yeah, it's interesting. That's actually fairly portable, you know?
Yeah. It looks really good. I'm looking forward to it. The Breath of the Wild. This was the first commercial for Breath of the Wild that showcased the story aspects of it and not just the big open world. There's a lot you can dick around and do. Which, don't get me wrong, I like that. You know, there was always even an element of that in a lot of 3D Zelda games. In fact, I remember my first major playthrough of Ocarina of Time, I kept like as soon as I got access to be able to get bombs, you know, I sort of like stopped doing the Gorgon mission and just ran around and saw what areas were opened up by the bombs because I just couldn't wait to explore. So, you know, there's always an element of that. There's always, in theory, supposed to be a major element of exploration.
Yeah, they're just bringing it back hardcore.
Yeah, they're just we're really going to focus on it this time. But this is a trailer at the end of this presentation that actually focused on the story and got me interested in that aspect too.
Yeah. Ooh, pretty explosions.
Oh, dude. I like these slightly cel-shaded graphics to it, to be honest. And I generally don't like cel-shaded graphics. I don't know why. It really seems to work for me this time. I gotta say, though, I don't like Link in blue. Like, I want a green tunic.
I don't know. I like the new costume. I like it better.
Well, I just, you know, I've spent...
Well, you're wrong, Undertow.
Yeah, I've spent 30 years playing the green Link. I want the green Link. You're not supposed to be other colors till you earn them.
Things shouldn't be the same because I don't like things that are different.
Yep. No, Zelda,
oh no, Wolf!
You're not supposed to be other colors till you earn them. Those are like the power-up versions.
He always looked better in the pajamas from Wind Waker, anyway. So it's basically just that.
You know, I've never played through Wind Waker.
Really? You should. It's a great game.
Yeah, I think I might.
There's a little bit of a grind towards the end, but the HD port on the Wii U fixed a lot of that. Because like you have to at the last phase of the game, it actually becomes like Zelda 1, and you have to get the Triforce pieces. And it used to be that you would find treasure chests with maps in them that would lead you to where they were buried on the seafloor. But now they just replaced those treasure chests with the maps in them with just treasure chests with the Triforce pieces themselves. So you just took a step out, basically. It was way too long before.
All right. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and take callers then. One of the other interesting things I was doing, I was reading through some of the Zelda mangas here recently. I don't know why I just had a hair up my ass to do it. And it was kind of interesting how, like I read the Ocarina of Time manga, right? And part of the change were just changes that you expect because you're going from a game to an actual, book, a narrative kind of, as it were, what's the little fairy boy in Ocarina of Time that like is your rival Mido or something? Mido. Okay, so he actually goes into the Dookie tree with you, and he's got the sword and you got the slingshot kind of thing. I say you, Link. You're not him, but you're reading a book. But yeah, that was kind of interesting. The one thing that also kind of I thought was interesting that really, in the adult phase of the story, Ganon is very aware of you and trying to stop you as you're going. And he actually he thinks Sheik is working for him, so he sends him/her, as it were, out to like go get you a bunch of times. And something that was interesting in this, and because it reminded me of an aspect of Ocarina of Time I don't hear a lot of people mention. There's a feel in the Ocarina of Time game where like it feels like nobody really notices you. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's a really good way, especially for it. Like it captures that feeling of being a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Same thing with Earthbound.
Where like the thing you're doing is below the notice of adults generally. And even in your adult phase of the game, like it feels like for most of that at least, you are beneath Ganon's notice. Like he's not even aware you're out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, okay, yeah, there's like a phantom Ganon you fight in the or the forest temple, but that just feels like some sort of trap that was just generically left behind, not necessarily left behind specifically for you.
Right.
You know, it like Ganon is up in his big floaty black spiked castle. He's not aware of your existence at all. And I feel like that's something that connects emotionally to kids when they're playing that game, especially.
Mm-hmm.
And that was very absent from the book, which I thought was interesting. Like, I don't really know why they did that, why they felt the need to do that.
They probably didn't notice it.
Yeah, they might not really have noticed that was a feel of it, but you know, yeah. I mean, like, think of some moments in Ocarina of Time, like when you first get access to the to Death Mountain, you know, you have a note from Zelda that the guard will let you through, and he's like, haha, what silly game is Zelda playing?
Yeah.
You know, like you're going up there to fucking save the world, and this guy's like, whatever, kid. Like, you know, there should be a fucking army of troops behind you. But no, they're just like, yeah, it's some stupid kid. He's going to go up there and probably get himself killed. I don't care. It's not my responsibility. You know?
Yeah.
And it was really interesting. Now, that was very absent from the book.
Mm-hmm.
The Zelda mangas are really good, though. I've read I read the Link to the Past one. The Minish Cap one is just adorably charming, and the Ocarina of Time one's good.
Just like the game itself.
In fact, when I finally get off my ass and do the gaming channel, one of the videos I want to do is I want to do a video contrasting the Link to the Past manga with the Link to the Past comic that was in Nintendo Power. Because it's very like, I just think it'd make an interesting video. Like, both of them actually create characters and art in the game that sort of act as another character around Link, you know, sounding off board in many cases. But two different characters are created respectively. But yeah, they're good reads, and they're recently reprinting a bunch of them in bigger legendary collections, as it were, which is usually two of the regular size mangas put together. Well, yeah, I recommend them. I enjoy them a lot. You know, even though I got to read them backwards, damn gooks. All right. Looks like we got some people want to join in. John Steele wants to join in. I'll let him in. And I got a caller named Matt Forney, who's calling all the way from Hungary, apparently. I don't know what's going on with him, but we'll see. And then a couple other callers, looks like. Forgive me for the dead air there. I'm just responding to people in here.
That's all right. We're not professionals.
Nope. I need to work on some of those. Like, Cantwell was talking about how he has certain phrases he says all the time, which are just, you know, opportunities to let your mind catch up with your mouth, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where he's constantly, like, at the end of the call, he's like, okay, thank you very much for the call, even if it was, like, you know, somebody that he's hanging up on.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Oh, how about some
He
sponsors?
gives the number, and then he's like, Radical Agenda on the Skype's there. Sponsors! That's an excellent idea, Luke. See, this is why I don't pay you the big bucks. Sponsors. The first sponsor we got is independent comic Ojo Negro, which, I highly recommend. It's a solid read. Not enough comics out there that are actually fun. Marvel and DC kind of in the crapper right now. So do check this out. It's available both in digital and print form. And the other sponsor this week is a little book called Reaction. Hang on, let me actually get the get this brought up again. It's Reactionary Liberty. I want to actually bring up the thing so I can read the back of it. Damn it! Terrible dead air here. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is a good book because it's it's basically on why libertarianism needs to move more right, and it's got a picture of Pinochet on the cover, so he's
it's good.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, so I'm just gonna read out the bio here because I have not had a chance to read this yet. But in Reactionary Liberty, the Libertarian Counter-Revolution, Robert Taylor argues that without a reactionary element to its philosophy, libertarianism can never be a serious movement because it will always fall victim to O'Sullivan's Law. Any movement or institution not explicitly right-wing will eventually turn left-wing. While libertarians may believe they are above or beyond left and right, the left infiltration of libertarianism, combined with the evolutionary psychology of RK selection theory, proves that libertarians cannot be neutral. While offering private alternatives that can help to circumvent the Leviathan, including the use of Bitcoin.
Yeah, the Bechtloff live stream.
Oh, the Bechtloff live stream. Is that so?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was talking to a compatriot of mine. I'm not sure if he wants to be identified, but hi everyone.
I'm doing an ad here, Matt.
Well, my
keep the capitalism going.
Oh my, the high professionalism here. While offering alternatives that can be used to circumvent Leviathan, including the use of whatever. You get the idea. Point is, this is a great read. He talks about libertarianism needs to get a reactionary bent to it. That as Cantwell always likes to say, the first step to getting a free country is to physically remove Democrats and communists. Yeah. And this seems like a great book. Like, I am anxious to check it out myself. I just came across this guy, but yes, definitely check this book out. This is the kind of thing we need more of out there. And also, if you enjoy this highly professional production here and would like to support it, there is a tip jar below where you can give me some shekels, and that is always greatly appreciated and helps me make this show what it is for whatever that's worth. And as always, do check out our sponsors. Remember, you check out our sponsors, that helps me. And when you do check out our sponsors, it certainly doesn't hurt to throw them a message or something and say, hey, heard about you from the Bechtloff podcast, because that makes them want to continue to sponsor me. All right, so
so we want you in on the con is what we're saying.
Yeah. So John Steele's with us and Forney's with us from the far off land of Hungary.
Two of the manliest men on the internet.
Yep.
Speaking of manly men, I was talking to my wife's boyfriend's son, and who happens to be a Muslim furry. And that book that you mentioned, he said it's a great read.
Great.
Yeah, maybe I get that kind of sponsor at the podcast.
At what point was that fictional?
Oh, yeah, that was... I love how the left is like, this is how we'll defeat Trump.
Yeah, that'll show them.
Forney, what's on your mind?
Speaking of manly men, I want to talk about a bunch of unmanly men. And these would be the men who occupied a certain website called therightstuff.biz.
Breaking news! Breaking
We're
news!
beefing
The
here.
breaking news is that
Beefing here.
I'm not beefing. I'm making a
The
good.
beef is on the grill.
Okay. I'm a little inebriated because it's 3 a.m. here, but I am legitimately pissed off.
I think we all
long
are.
story short, the major TRS figures are in the process of being doxxed, but that was not what inspired me to call into this show at 3 a.m. Hungarian time. Dash the Nation, the second most popular podcast at The Right Stuff, preemptively shut down their website and removed their podcast because they're afraid of getting doxxed.
Oh,
How much of a fucking gutless coward do you have to be to
Wow.
seriously?
Just
Okay.
that's the point where you batten down the hatches and get your records, make sure that's all buried. You don't just run and hide.
Yeah, and I actually do have confirmation that Jazz Hands McField shut it down because he's afraid of getting doxxed. Now, this is one thing. Okay, we've had people like Emily Yukas getting doxxed. We've had millennials getting doxxed. But here's the thing: the right stuff for the people who are talking about, oh yeah, race war now. We're gonna kill all those, those blanks and blanks.
Yeah.
Aryan supremacy. They named their flagship show after a freaking genocide. And the minute they smell a whiff of gunpowder from the Antifas, from Paul, whoever's doing this, they shit their pants. They run for the hills.
Mhm.
It proves what I've been saying about the right stuff and the anime Nazi mentality for years now. These people have no conviction, and they never had any intention of seeing through the right-wing struggle to the end. They joined the right wing because they wanted to edgelord. They wanted to be... They wanted the prestige of LARPing as edgy rebels against the establishment. 10 years ago, if the right stuff guys had gotten into politics then, they would have been radical leftists because Bush was still president. But because the left has been in power, they decided to join the right, like all these other LARPers, because they want that feeling of being against the establishment. They had no conviction behind them, and we're actually seeing it right now. And again, these are the same people who spent their entire careers sniping at people like me. They snipe at me because they don't like the fact that I'm friends with Arini or you, Bechtloff, or Roosh, or Mike Cernovich, or they don't like the fact that I've slept with non-white women, or they like the fact that I've slept with any woman because, being an autistic virgin into your 20s is the totally fashy way to go, bro. And
They don't like me? I thought everybody loved me.
But yes, they're running and they're dying. They're showing the conviction of the conviction that they have, which is none. This is absolutely embarrassing, and no one on the right should be behaving like this. Okay, I get that some people need to be anonymous. That's fine, but on a long enough timeline, everyone is going to get doxxed on the internet. It's just inevitable. You're going to attract enough attention that people want to take you down, or you're just going to slip up eventually. That's just reality.
Yeah.
How are you going to react when it happens? Are you going to delete all your life's work and hide like a bitch? Oh, yeah, there was a TRS guy who actually sold out his fellow comrades at the right stuff in exchange for immunity from the Antifas. Like, they stopped releasing his docs. He just ratted out his fucking comrades.
Wow.
There's one for the fucking, baseball bats.
They're gonna do it anyway later.
Yes.
Like, you guys know that, right?
Yes.
Nope.
Now both sides of the spectrum want to fucking kill him. So yeah, that's my rant for tonight.
Eventually
Fuck these people. Fuck the right stuff if they're going to behave like this. I've got my beef with them, but I like some of the work they do. They did a good job of bringing people to the alt-right. If this is the way they're going to act, then fuck them. Fuck those cowards, those chicken shits, and fuck anyone who defends them.
Eventually, they're going to dox me and discover all my gay, furry, immigrant romance porn.
Chapters and chapters of smut.
Reams
Terabytes of text. In fact, he wrote the story.
Yeah, I was both the author of that book and the guy who interviewed him.
Mm-hmm. And he made that all just so he could spread some publicity on this podcast.
Yep.
He's playing the long game, folks.
And I say another thing too. I speak from someone with personal experience of this because I actually was doxxed a year ago. My parents were doxxed. My phone number was leaked. But I didn't react to it by fucking shutting down my blog and begging for mercy and pulling my pants down and spreading my ass cheeks. No, I'm still here. I'm still fighting. I'm still here.
Even Spencer acted like more of a man, and that guy's, I'm pretty sure, queer in a $3 bill.
No comment.
I'll comment. So you will comment. I'll show you an implicit white comment.
Just that's my rant. That's my rant for tonight.
Well, thanks to my.
By the way, when did this all happen? Was this just today?
It just happened just now, like a couple hours ago.
Okay.
Me and my friend were talking about it and watching about it and like, you know, our jaws agape in just utter disgust.
Well, in fairness, they might be trying to protect their wives' boyfriends.
Yeah, poor guys.
Well, as long as their wives' boyfriends are white, it's okay.
Well, I understand one of them has a Jewish wife.
No comment. But anyway, I've said my piece on that, and it's about 3:15 here, so I'm going to be get going. But thanks for taking my call, buddy, and y'all have a nice life back there in the land of the cowardly and the home of the slave.
Yep.
Have yourselves a good night, folks. 40 out.
Let's see who we bringing in next here. Who's next in line? Looks like British James is next in line.
That's just James.
Oh no, we got two James that come on here.
No, we got James and Black James.
It's British James and Black James.
British James was here first, though, and there were several other people with my first name when I was growing up, and I always had to be the other Kevin because I was always the second one there. So whoever's there first, they get to be the original.
I was going to say, you mean someone else named their kid Undertow?
It's a Floridian thing. It's all nautical. There's a guy in my other class named Riptide. He thought it made him a superhero.
Wasn't that a TV series in the 80s, Riptide?
Sounds like it.
I'm sure it was. It's just a nautical term for
you just meme mammoth. Good God, I butchered that joke.
Meme mammoth. I am the mammoth meme.
You just meme magic that thing into existence, Johnson.
Retroactively.
The mean mammoth. Now that'll become a meme somehow.
Mammoth meme.
Oh Lordy.
Don't underestimate the power of Keck. I just saw a funny tweet. I think it was Baked Alaska said it. Said I'm going to be very, very disappointed that after the Trump inauguration, Donald Trump doesn't say to Obama, "You're fired."
Well, I was kind of hoping he'd do the whole inauguration with a Bane mask.
Listen. I'm to the point where I'm really concerned about Inauguration Day. I think we're going to be seeing full-scale riots.
I don't really think so. I mean, look, there's going to be a lot of elements
not in DC because they're going to have that shit. I mean,
well, they're
Secret
supposed to have that shit on lock. But what if they don't? What if they don't want to?
There's going to be a lot of elements to the left that are going to go out and make fools of themselves, and a handful of dindus are going to burn down their cities, their own neighborhoods, because they tend to do that. Beyond that, that's all I predict is going to happen.
Well, I actually put this question, Bechtloff. You responded to it in our private thing there. Or we can't talk about it, but that
Fight Club.
Yeah, asking what did people think what Undertow just voiced.
Yeah. Uh-huh. All right, British James, you're with us.
Go ahead.
Oh, am I on?
Yep.
Oh, perfect.
Why have you got a picture of Irini?
Oh, yes.
So you wanted to talk about some gay immigrant Muslim furry romances?
I believe he's actually read the text.
Oh,
Am I correct?
He has the hardcover collector's edition of it.
It comes with the blow-up doll.
Unfortunately, the blow-up doll also has like a tail, so it's kind of weird.
Actually, I was going to talk about the Switch, but
Go ahead.
Did anyone actually read the book or even see a blurb? Because I did see some of the
No.
excerpts.
No.
I did see.
Yeah, Undertow's currently working his way through it.
Very, very slowly, because
It's
you know
on my
I have to be
reading-
careful not to get anything wet on the pages.
It's on my reading pile.
Well, I did read some of the excerpts, and I think for 2 paragraphs it describes a furry leopard praying to Muhammad, and then describes about how he was about to get fucked in the ass by another leopard.
What animal is Muhammad? Is he a pig?
Anything,
Or is he a goat?
anything that can mount a goat, preferably. I don't want to talk about it. Just the fact, I just don't know what goes through their mind when they think of this.
Surely this will stump the Trump.
It's like, yeah, we're going to show those Trump supporters, and then this proceeds to take a shit while doing a handstand. Didn't accomplish anything. Just made a mess.
You sure showed us.
We're just clap on for another 5-6 days until the inauguration and just laugh. Actually, even before the switch, I want to put a bet on the first thing Trump will mention during the inauguration. What does anyone actually want to put? Because it's 6-4 odds he will mention "Make America Great Again" first, but I don't think he's going to say that. Other things: Obamacare, the Russians, China, and Twitter. So
I always thought that he was just going to go up there and say, "Now is not the time for fear. That comes later." He's just going to recite the Bain speech. Go home, hug your families. Tomorrow we take it back.
say that there are some websites in England that actually have some bets. 500 to 1 odds he's going to paint the White House gold.
Like on inauguration day.
He's gonna order it right there. Like as soon as he does swearing on the Bible, he's like, "All right, boys, you have your orders."
Get that scaffolding up. I want this done by sundown.
And it was.
Well, you've got 3 days to make the bet because there's 8 bets they have. They've got to complete his first term in office, 7-4, or to not complete his first term. To be impeached in the first 6 months is 4-1. For golden shower footage to appear on Red 2 is 5-1. And to replace the gold lift in Trump Tower is 14-1. So there's some great money to be made.
Why is there only 5-1 odds on the golden shower footage? Because we know that's not true.
Yeah, but it was real in their minds. Gooey.
It's real to me.
I can't believe how people actually fell for that shit. I mean, it was so on its face.
I had heard that
They want to hear anything negative about Trump, they'll accept.
I had heard it was so ridiculous that that there was like a leak from a European government in all these documents that were supposedly up on 4chan, where somebody from Europe was referring to the World Cup of soccer. Like somebody in these documents referred to soccer as soccer.
Oh, God. Only Americans call it soccer.
Yeah, that's the.
I actually prefer to call it poverty ball, but Ann Coulter coined that, and I think it's perfect.
I never heard that before.
It's perfect, though.
Poverty ball.
Lobotomy gymnastics.
It's for football players that can't throw.
Yeah. And James is thinking, but why would a football player need to throw?
It's called football. You play with your feet.
But actually, the only serious bet they've got, who do you think is going to be the first Trump state visit? Because they've got even bets on Russia, and then Mexico, then Israel, then England.
Those are all good choices.
I think the dark horse should be that dude from the Philippines.
Yes. Yes.
Well, that's 33 to 1.
Duterte, yeah.
That guy's Pinochet like reincarnated.
He's awesome.
Who would have thought that would happen? Like the Philippines. I didn't think there was a single real man on those islands.
Yeah, I thought they all had to do operations to get like manly status.
Oh, this guy's full on fash, man. I mean,
He's admitted to actually throwing people off helicopters. That's the fun thing.
All right. So, what were your thoughts on the Switch then?
I did actually like it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
What's his thoughts?
I was actually I'm not looking forward to Legend of Zelda because it's not my thing, but Mario Odyssey I do. I'm quite optimistic about. I think it's if they get it right, we might see somewhat close to Sunshine. I know Undertone and me discussed this earlier today, but
Mhm.
the thing with the Switch is that it has a similar marketing issue with the Wii U in the sense that what does it want to market itself as? The Wii U proved itself that it didn't market itself as a game console, it marketed itself as an expansion, which it wasn't of the Wii, and that's why it failed.
Yeah.
So the Wii U, the Switch is doing a lot better. We know it's a separate console, we know it's something new. The problem is, and I said this to Black James as well today, is it going to be a Nintendo console that can match the others? Because if here's the thing, Nintendo's coming in late for this console. The Wii U is besides the point now. It's going to be competing with the Xbox One and the PS4. So if it wants to do that, it's got to have the great first-party lineup, which it will have, because we've got Zelda, we've got Mario, we've got Kart, we've got Splatoon.
We've also got, from brief clips, a new fast racing game, which I know for most people is not going to be a big selling factor, but for the rare arcade racer fans like me, we're going to be very happy to see that.
Yeah.
I was happy to see a glimpse of Bomberman.
Oh, yes, I forgot Bomberman.
Bomberman.
Yeah. That's not even a Nintendo franchise, though, of course.
I don't even know who owns them now.
Well, the thing is, even though it's not first party, Capcom has always had a very strong headed with Nintendo, and it's always been a good heralding of a console. If Capcom's got its blessing, because GameCube obviously had the Resident Evil franchise, the Xbox 360 had the Dead Rising franchise. 8th generation has not actually had a Capcom actual exclusive console. It's never had that thing, and that's why this 8th
Well,
gen.
Capcom barely makes games at this point.
Oh, it's gone. It's like what is it, Namco, and who's it? Who does Metal Gear Solid? I'm trying to
Konami.
remember. Yeah, Konami. They've disappeared from the map.
They do still make Monster Hunter, though, and they do it well.
And Plinko machines.
No, Capcom.
Oh, Capcom, yeah.
Capcom makes Monster Hunter.
But the point I'm trying to make is if Nintendo Switch does want to succeed and actually not just make an audience that it has and build it up, steal Xbox and PlayStations, it's got to capture third-party support, and I don't think it can do that with its specs, because it's the one time where you don't need to be PS Pro or Xbox Scorpio powerful, but I don't know if it's... Let's take 3 games that it probably won't have. It won't have the next Resident Evil game, it won't have Titanfall 2, and it won't have the next Call of Madden. As much as you may shit on all 3 of them, they are still games people buy because they are really good.
Yeah, but if EA's on there and making sports games for it, that's going to be a real boon for them.
Yeah, but
And as I'll repeat what I said earlier, which is all they need to do is to have them. Because if they have them, they already have an advantage that the other guys don't have, which is not graphics, but rather the portability factor, the ability to take what is usually an at-home experience with you. That's a good selling point for the people that need that.
But the thing you've got to mention is, how can you do handheld with a lot of those games if they're multiplayer focused? Because unless you have a separate free 4G connection, it's not going to happen. A lot of these games are that's the thing. Nintendo has actually preserved a really solid, lovely market of local stuff. Who else does Mario Party or Mario Kart or Brawl or any of that?
Oh,
It's a
yeah,
lovely market of party games.
Dead outside of Nintendo.
Well, and if you hang on, there's a trailer out for the new Fast game. It's called Fast RMX. Okay, so yes, that makes me very excited. But anyway, crap, I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, the one thing that I just remembered on the Switch that I wanted to comment on, it's not region locked, which is good. That's a real boon. But Nintendo is now charging for its online shit, which is crap.
I think,
And I
actually,
know the other guys do it, but that don't make it right.
Well,
Now,
here's
it's
I hate
not
to
a big
interrupt.
deal to me because, to be honest, until such time as another Mario Maker type game comes on there, I might not even need the online shit.
I hate to really buy him, but the fact is, with the PSN Plus or Gold or whatever they call it, those guys have started doing free games monthly. If Nintendo, because I mentioned this with Undertow, the Wii U was a console that didn't last a full life cycle, but there's still a very good library to it. If they can use a similar model with free games every month, but migrate the Wii U games over, that could
That would make
essentially
it worth getting
it
it.
would expand the library, and it would make the subscription worth it.
maybe they could at the very least they could do would be like some kind of Wii U add-on that would just be like a disk drive and a receiver for the Wii U gamepad, or rather, it would let you use the NX itself as the gamepad.
Yeah, just a disk drive, just basically something to read the disk that attaches to the NX or to the NX to the Switch.
Well, we'll still call it the NX for a while because that's been in our lexicon for so long already. But you mentioned party games, and everything that they have shown has been really good in party. Even the Wii Sports equivalent is called 1-2 Switch. I know you didn't watch the whole thing, James, but it's basically like, each person takes one of the controllers, and you can do sword fights, and there's a mini game where like you do a Western Mexican standoff, and you pull the gun faster than the other guy and pull the trigger.
And it's got a lot of tactile response in it, which is a
Right.
real
But the
evolution
interesting thing there is that it doesn't even use the screen. You just look at the screen after you play the game to figure out who won. So it's really tapping into that the growing party game thing with like the Jackbox games and Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, those sorts of games. Where it's a little bit more of a mixing of a tabletop game and a video game, console thing. Plus, being with online service, that being charged is actually not entirely a negative. A big part of the reason why Nintendo's online stuff has been so terrible historically is because they never charged for it. So they had no funding to put into it that wasn't being skimmed off at the top of their profits. So they were obviously very reluctant to put anything into it. If they have a subscription system like the other guys do, that's very good news for people like me who play Splatoon. And for anybody who wants to do online games of another kind. It's again, you are correct in that they need to have the multi-platform games, and I think that they're going to have more than they have in the past couple generations. So you say that the Wii U didn't last a full console generation, and I think that kind of shows your modern bias, because the seventh generation lasting 10 years, that was not normal.
It lasted a long time. I think about
It lasted a
8 or 9.
really, really long time, because normally a console generation back in the olden days, how long was there between the N64 and the GameCube? Let me check that real quick. N64.
It was 96, 95 maybe, but I think it was 96.
And then let's see.
Yeah, I think the Xbox original came out in 01. So.
Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So the N64 came out in 96, and the GameCube came out in 01 as well. That's 5 years. That's
Right.
That's pretty much what the Wii U did, because it came out in 2012, and in 2017, 5 years later, we're getting the Switch. So it's not. It wasn't actually so much them cutting out early as it was them going back to coming out with the next system faster, I guess, in more in the sense that they used to. But additionally, they really did slog it out for the long haul with the Wii U, and I kind of respect them for sticking with it for that long and not just giving up and throwing their hands up.
Actually, as a side question, how long? Because you mentioned time frame. How long did the Wii last?
The Wii was from that was from 06 to 2012, so that was 6 years.
Yeah.
And the
Because as I say, that was 2 years less than the others. So about 5-6 years. It's, as I say, they're completely misaligned. It's hard to judge in terms of frame, because that's the thing. Even though I agree, I think a console generation should be Nintendo length. They're still competing with a different market. That's the thing. Nintendo's going to have its core market that will always succeed, because Nintendo games are one of a kind.
right.
You can't get that. You can't unless they decide to make the next Banjo-Kazooie or Battletoads, which ain't gonna happen. They're not gonna compete. But the fact is, if Nintendo wants to win, which I think they can, all they need to do is just make what could essentially be an Xbox One or a PS4, but not suck, and actually have games.
That's kind of what they're doing.
But that's
But
the
they're
thing.
adding in the portable thing.
Yeah, but we don't know if it can do multiplat successfully.
We don't. I guess. What's your point?
If it can't do the multiplats, if you can't do your Call of Maddens or your third, like even if you generalize Call of Maddens as every third party game, if it can't do that, then you're not gaining.
But again, we're gonna.
You also don't need to think about this in terms of winners and losers. Nintendo isn't trying to win a race; they're just looking to make a profit. They don't care how much the other guys are making, so long as it doesn't cut into their profits.
Yeah, and to be
in fact,
fair,
that might be part of the reason why they have avoided multi-platform stuff in the past, is because they don't want to have to look at somebody else's sales figures and say, "Oh, that's coming out of ours."
No, see, Nintendo.
It's a different paradigm.
Nintendo has been in third place, but they've been in a more profitable third place for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And that's. And again, you got the EA Sports involved in there, and again, that's a good sign that there's going to be, games that those dude bros like.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk big multi-plats, FIFA is definitely one of them. May not have wowed anybody in Japan, but as a global audience goes, that's one of their biggest sellers, which is why they brought it. Because they wanted to show exactly what you're talking about, which is to say, look, we've got the big multi-plats right here.
Well, the EA, to be honest, EA jumps on every sort of thing. But when I talk about success, the fact is, if you buy a console, you're not just buying the first-party games, you're buying everything. The fact is, as much as people would shit on Microsoft, they are expanding their library to Windows 10 and PC. They're basically saying everyone can have their games. Whereas if Nintendo wants a console, they want to have, if you buy a Switch, you can enjoy everything. You can enjoy what the Sony users and what the Xbox users can enjoy. If you can't enjoy those multiplats, you're not gaining a library, you're just switching them. That's what I'm saying. If I want to play a system where I can enjoy a Mario game and then go on to something else. If I can't go on to something else, then I'm not gaining anything, I'm just changing it.
All right.
So basically, you've just got to wait and see.
Yeah. Anything else on your mind there, James?
That's it. Thanks for having me on.
All right, I'm going to move on to the next caller then. Thanks for being on.
Cool.
So for those 3 other arcade racing fans, Fast RMX will be coming out in March. So that's going to be pretty much a launch title for the Switch as well. And it looks fine. It's more of a half sequel to the Wii U's Fast Racing Neo, which, was great, but balls hard, just like F-Zero GX, really.
Well, as interesting as that is, what do you think about the 12-year-old that pulled a gun on a girl because he wanted a chicken McNugget?
Oh, yeah, I heard of that. Wait, wasn't that in Harlem or something?
It was in New York. I don't know exactly where.
He pulled a gun on someone for a chicken McNugget.
Yeah, on a girl. Yeah, 12-year-old boy.
Put the Tindies in the bag.
Apparently, he was running low on good boy points. Which isn't surprising, since he's a shithead who pulls guns on people for no good reason.
Where did a 12-year-old get the gun? Because they have gun control in New York.
I think
so.
we need to ban all guns.
Yeah,
Clearly, it's the children that are.
No, I think
we have
we
to
need some
protect the
common
baby.
sense chicken McNugget control.
If it wasn't for Chicken McNuggets, this never would have happened.
It's true.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true.
It's like I see stories again. Like I don't like, dude. I just saw a story on Facebook where it was like a man in Florida arrested for having sex with a pit bull.
Oh,
And-
there.
It's always in Florida, isn't it?
And I was shocked because I didn't even know Pitbull was gay. You know, the rapper. So I was a little surprised by that. Mr. Worldwide, I didn't realize he was gay.
I'm having problems with my thing.
Okay.
You know, you should probably see a doctor.
Delta, you cannot hear us apparently.
Gotta be.
Apparently not.
All right. Well, why don't you try exiting out and coming back in?
I'll join from my phone.
Can you hear us or not?
He said he
Okay.
was going to try to reconnect with his phone.
All right. Thanks for the call.
Please come again.
That was riveting. I was making a joke about Pitbull, and somebody in the comments says, "Are you really worldwide if you aren't also into dudes?"
It doesn't affect you.
Doesn't affect you. Whitney, Wisconsin had been arrested. I kept seeing that people talking about that. I hadn't seen the actual thing, but I don't think her YouTube channel's up anymore either.
Do you know what she was arrested for? Because apparently it's legal where she lives.
Maybe she went somewhere where it wasn't. Somebody says who?
Don't open that Hellraiser box, man.
I love showing that video to normies too, where it's like, and to all the haters, what I do doesn't hurt you, doesn't affect. And people are like, "Why are you showing me this? It's just some chick in a bikini. Doesn't affect you. I fuck dogs." Get over.
I never had like nightmares or insomnia before I, found you guys.
I love, like I show that to normies at work, where I'm like, "You gotta watch this video," and I'm like, "Wait for it." I fuck dogs. And I remember like somebody at my work, like, "You what now?"
Did she say what?
What did she say? Hang on, somebody just texted me something. Okay, I'm bringing in a different caller because Delta is somebody else has got some cutting edge info on the TRS situation.
Okay.
So we'll bring that in. Not sure if they fuck dogs. We'll find out. But that doesn't affect you either way. So seriously, I love showing that video to people. I fuck dogs. And she just throws it out there so fast too. Like your first time you hear it, you're like, I didn't hear that right.
Sometimes I doubt your Christian faith if you show that to people.
Well, no, you cannot convince people of heaven until you show them hell sometimes.
Oh, that's one way to look at it. You cannot unsee what has been seen.
Mm-hmm.
You don't realize you need a savior until you understand just how fallen mankind is.
Yeah. I guess that's one good purpose of Common Filth is he shows you just how sick the world is.
He is good for that, yes. Okay, we have massive happenings at TRS, which people kind of need to hear sooner rather than later. So sorry to interrupt.
Oh, go ahead.
Go for it.
We got breaking news. We know go live to TRS being bitches. TRS.
Oh, it's beyond that now. So Mike Enoch got doxxed a couple of hours ago. It turns out his wife is Jewish, which is causing a massive shitstorm for obvious reasons. TRS is in full damage control, saying she's only 1/4 Jewish, so it's fine. And at this point, Fascination. At this point, Fascination have shut down their podcast. Want nothing to do with TRS anymore, and are going into hiding because they think they're the next on the docs list. And half the other podcasts are saying we're going elsewhere, we're done with TRS. So the entire thing's now collapsing.
It all comes tumbling down, tumbling down.
Which of the TRS members is the one that turned on him? That Forney said that. Do you know who that was?
I'm not sure you mean turned on them.
I think what he knows is that snitches get stitches, John.
I think you mean Ghoul, where he put his face on YouTube, then got doxxed, and he was shocked this happened, and then apparently that's where all these other leaks are coming from, where he started working with Antifa to hide some of his stuff, and Antifa was using
that
him.
guy never sat right with me. Like I saw some of Ghoul's videos, and I'm like, this guy.
He signaled a lot. He signaled in strange ways. Like, hey, I work for these liberal parties and I'm really popular and cool, but I hate them all really, guys. I fucking hate them deep down. I wish I was at home playing video games.
Well, the reason I asked is because in business, I don't care. I'll work for the left or the right. So any of these Antifas listening, I have very reasonable rates. So if you want me to deal with somebody.
We found him to get him, guys.
John Steele has information that the Bechtloff is secretly Chris Bechtloff. But no, like I always got a bad vibe off Ghoul. Politics aside, just on a personal level, I'm like, this guy's an asshole. Like, I don't know how else to put it.
Your spidey sense tells you this guy's.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, this, no.
He did seem very strange how he'd signal, like, I'm at college, I'm at university, look how smart I am. And he's like, I'm going to all these parties and I'm like trying to red pill people. When his story is basically, he said something stupid, they kicked him out of the house for it every time. But this is an hour-long story he'd tell every podcast for the next month because he was proud of being kicked out of the Liberal Party.
I never really listened to their podcast that much. I've listened to precious little of the Right Stuff's content. But I did watch some of Ghoul's YouTube videos, and
I did listen. The only one I listened to was the one where they bitched about Forney. That was the only one I ever listened to.
Oh, dude, I have a funny story. I saw this on YouTube about them. But anyways, I saw this on Facebook. I'll tell in a second. But like, I'm watching Ghoul's videos, and at one point, I just like I backed it up and I just muted it, and I just kind of watched the body language. You know, you can tell a lot from people when they're actually on camera. If you just mute it and look at them, like, what is your hindbrain telling you? I'm not saying always take that as gospel, but take your gut and you know,
don't ignore it.
Yeah, don't ignore it.
Use that as your starting point and then figure it out.
Yeah, let them prove your gut wrong, but don't ignore your gut. So yeah, just something about him didn't sit right. But anyways, somebody added me to a group of the Right Stuff fans, I guess it was, on Facebook. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And they're bitching about Forney all the time. And at one point, I guess they had bought a YouTube ad, or a Facebook ad, and they were like showing it off like it was so like, look what we did, right? And then somebody like posted a picture of Matt Forney looking sad, like, I could have been a contender. Like, these guys are sitting here acting like we made it because they bought a fucking Facebook ad. I'm like, look, I just set up a Facebook page, the Bechtloff, for the Bechtloff, which, by the way, if you're on the Facebook, feel free to give it a like. And I saw, like, the ads you can run. Facebook is constantly, like, yammering at me now to run ads. And they're as low as, like, $5 or $3. So these guys are sitting around having a circle jerk, excited over the fact that they
just kicked in 50 cents to put.
Yeah, they just bought a $5 ad. Oh, wow. I don't have any beef with anybody at the Right Stuff. I think the Bulbasaur guy there on Twitter I actually follow. Like, I really don't, but it's just, I don't know. There's a few, again, don't ignore your gut. And there's a few times where my gut just tells me, you know.
Well, I do think it's hysterical that the guy has a Jewish wife, considering how they're always talking about ovening everybody.
Yeah, and they're
It is looking quite likely that it is his wife, and they're claiming 1/4 Jewish, and the current heads of TRS are meeting in secret Skype groups to discuss what to do going forward. So it's an interesting situation.
Yeah, what should they do? Should they like the joint suicide pact or?
Have to stick her in an oven. The only way she's getting.
I mean, I bust on Richard Spencer here for being an attention whore and for quite possibly being gayer than cum on a mustache, but at least Richard Spencer like is out there. You know, he's fucking got some balls about it. You know, these same guys that wanted to attack Matt Forney because they found a video of him running away from Antifas who were chasing him are running away from cyberbullying now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we just had Millennial Woes disappear as well. He's gone off to the continent.
Yeah, Millennial Woes is actually quite you know, he lives in like Europe where they'll throw your ass in jail for, you know, saying there's 4 lights.
Did you hear about the guy who got killed in prison because he was put there for putting bacon on a mosque door?
Yes, I heard about that.
So if you piss off the Muslims on the outside, they kill you on the inside.
Wow.
Great. This is going to end well for a lot of us, isn't it?
That's fine. I've made my peace with God. Maybe on my way to heaven, I'll drag a few of you fuckers to hell.
That does sound like a good plan to me. You might get some virgins up there. Just hope it's not the 4chan virgins you're expecting.
I think all the virgins that the fucking Muslims get, like the suicide bombers, it turns out to be each other. It's just 72 fucking suicide bombers are put in a room together. There you go. Figure out which one's the bottom.
I always thought it was 72 goat virgins.
There's no goat virgins when there's a Muslim around.
I like the Family Guy bit where it's like the suicide bomber goes to heaven. It's like, here's your 72 virgins. And it's a bunch of guys playing Magic the Gathering. When Bob Chipman goes to hell, he has to be one of the virgins. For one of these guys.
That's pushing it, man. That's not even fair in hell.
Well, which one is really suffering more?
I was going to ask. He would probably enjoy that, right?
It's at least some attention. Someone finally loves me.
If he goes to hell, he's just going to have a Game Boy with no batteries. And he'll just torment you for eternity. It will sit there like a shiny new Mario Land in it, and he'll never get to play it.
He goes to the universe. It's like how he thought he was going to go to the Nintendo universe, only all the Nintendo characters thinks he's a faggot.
And Sonic comes up. It's okay. No one likes me either.
But Lord knows Bob ain't going fast. Oh, Lordy. So anything else?
Has there been any other Muslim activity lately? You know, any Aloha snack bars going on around the world?
Wasn't there just one in Spain? There was a mass shooting in a supermarket, I believe.
Yeah, I think there was something in Spain.
There was the guy here in Fort Lauderdale in Florida just last week.
Did he kill anyone, or did he?
Oh hell yeah!
It barely makes the news anymore.
Yeah, he went and picked up it. He checked his gun case, went down to pick it up from baggage claim, loaded it.
Oh, that guy! Yeah. Oh yeah. That did get news. I guess there's something. There's like you said, it's
just you get so overwhelmed by it now. It's just like why can't one of the bullets hit me? It's just getting tiring.
Well, again, I mean, look, I live in a fucking rural redneck area where it's like, yes, please try that around here. All right,
please.
These guys are armed to the fucking teeth.
Yeah, but you know, not all Muslims are like that.
Oh, of course not. Some are into gay furry romances.
Yeah. As we come to learn tonight.
The Gimfers.
It's almost hard to know which one's first.
Repent.
You guys have to have seen that radical Muslim feminist where she's like dressed in a burqa with a nose piercing chain and tattoos all over her neon hair, right?
Well, I know the chick that writes the Muslim Miss Marvel comic is a quote-unquote feminist Muslim, and it's like, wow. Are you also a round square?
Hey, check your privilege.
Yeah, check Check my not fucking a goat privilege. Seriously though, a periodic reminder that this is a gutter religion practiced by savages. Okay, I don't want to hear any of this bullshit. You're religion of peace. No, you misspelled that. It's pieces, as in they blow people too. All right. Yeah, they're fucking cavemen. All right, they're just.
Sometimes they leave the cave and then they explode. They're like vampires.
Well, yeah, if they would have stayed in the caves, I wouldn't really have a problem with it.
Yeah, that's it. Somebody said to me one time, like you know, somebody was like, because the other day I was ranting about Amish to a friend of mine, and they're like, you know, I wouldn't mind them if they didn't have the buggies on the road, and I'm like, yeah, and I wouldn't mind the Muslims if they'd stop trying to kill everybody. But you know. Doesn't seem like either one of those things is likely to happen. All right, Broken. Any other things on your mind?
No, that's just it. I wanted to let people know what was going on. Also, like, people should check their ability to be doxxed. Try and get stuff off the internet where you can, because this is coming back from old. Yeah, this is coming back from old social media accounts and stupid links of PayPal stuff, and we need the outreach of the podcast just to stay in contact. There's a lot of people who are completely miserable in life who actually live just for the podcast each week until things get better. And losing, say, 50 to 90% of the podcast, which we may do if TRS goes, that's a big hit to a lot of people.
Well, thankfully, no one gives a shit about me, so nobody doxes me.
There's a hole now, man. You can be top podcaster in the alt-right.
Yeah.
Then we can find out you're a gay furry.
Yeah, gay furry.
And your dad's half Jewish on his mother's side.
Yeah, he's got a whole box full of Gimfer.
Yeah, I really don't have any skeletons other than a questionable browsing history. So
just dragon dildos.
Yeah, really, just dragon.
Bechtloff, I actually saw that clip that you mentioned about. I think it was from the Man Show or whatever, where when you die, they come in and like erase.
Yeah, yeah, they are.
Tell that story because you had mentioned. I didn't know what you're talking about. I found it somewhere.
It's this old Man Show clip where it's this service that when you die, like you wear a medical bracelet that alerts this company when your heart stops beating so that they can come into your apartment and clean up all the filth, like throw out the dildos and erase your browsing history and throw away all your porn and like put Bibles on your fucking bookshelf and shit.
Yeah, well, they do. They show one of the times they're doing it. They're taking the goat out. The guy had
taking a goat out of the apartment.
And then leave the body. The body, they just leave it right there. The guy's dead on the floor.
Yeah, they're there before the paramedics or the police.
Yeah, they completely erase everything, you know. All your Pornhub videos that you favorited. I just got I just put a link in the chat. I just got this from Ann, just posted on Facebook. 30,000 Islamic terror attacks since 9/11.
That's it?
30,000.
Yeah. Is that it? I thought it'd be a lot higher.
Since this year's 9/11.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to read it. I was just scrolling it because it was weird that just happened when I asked if there was any more Aloha snack bars.
If they weren't so fucking backwards, they'd end up killing more people than communists.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, actually, the acceptance of Islam is basically a leftist.
Well, as the old saying goes.
One thing I did want to say is I saw the film The Red Pill on Thursday.
Oh, how is that?
It's good, but like for guys like us, we kind of know everything that's in there, and it's very specific about feminism, and it doesn't really get into a lot of other topics outside that than the disease that is feminism. So it's not red pill in the term we use.
It's kind of all 2014 on us.
So to guys like us, who know all this stuff, it's kind of redundant. Also, for a documentary, it's long. It's 2.5 hours. I mean, it's like going to see like for a documentary, that's long. And I haven't been to a movie I haven't been to a theater in a few years actually. So sitting through it was kind of rough. But they did a really good job editing it. It did flow nicely. But like I said, there was, for people like us, there's not a lot of, but for people who are, blue pilled about this stuff, I would recommend it. But it's going to be redundant for, probably this audience.
All right. I'm bringing in Black James as a caller next. So, oh, by the way, Black James, he was on Twitter, but his account got showed. I think it was actually, I think Movie Bob got a bunch of people to report him, from what I heard. But yeah, he got suspended. Hopefully,
Doesn't he have black privilege to prevent against that?
I would think so, but
He's a sock puppet. He's not really black.
yeah.
He opposes the liberals, therefore he's actually a white man.
Yeah.
So James, are you actually black? Just for the record.
Okay, interesting story. I told this to Bechtloff back when I was on Twitter, back when I could access Twitter. I got suspended, but I said 3 times during this election, 3 motherfucking times.
James, your audio is kind of coming in and out there.
Yeah, your volume gets really, really high and then it gets really, really low. Maybe unplug your microphone and plug it back in. But anyway, John,
Is it any better?
Much better. But to answer your question, John, listen to the way he talks, and then he's from Detroit. He's definitely black.
3 times. 3 motherfuckers.
He's great at doing voices if he ain't black. You gotta get that.
No, 3 motherfucking times. Some cocksucker on Twitter. Usually it was a woman. Twice it was a woman. 3 motherfucking times they said to me that they didn't believe I was black and that I had to. And I'm not making this up. And I want you to sit the fuck down because y'all gonna hear this. Prove that I'm black to them, and I had to send them a fucking photograph. Twice. Their response was, "Oh, you're confused," and then one of them said that I was a traitor.
Well, there was they were probably just trying to get you to send them big black cock pictures.
Yeah, when they said send a picture, did they specify what?
No, I always use the same picture. I was just,
dick picture. It didn't happen.
But
I mean,
no,
like
man,
it's like they see you and they're like,
hey.
They see you and they're like, hey, that one left the plantation.
Oh God, yes,
They're awful.
It's I've been told that I was confused twice, literally that word, and one of them said that I was betraying my race, and I had to tell. I was like, listen, you stupid bitch. This is why I actually said it, because this was in like a
Well, the punchline, it was a lesbian Muslim that told him he was confused. So.
A lesbian Muslim furry.
It's like I told her. I'm actually kind of angry about this one though. So this my pissed off at the Soros drone's voice. I told this cunt. I said, like, look, I live in a country where for several centuries my people had to serve your people as like if we were fucking property. For fuck's sake, my grandmother scrub people's floors to feed her children and stuff. And you trying to tell me in a country where just a few years ago, just a few decades ago, you could have just turned to a white person and say, hey, he raped me, and pointed my black ass and I'd be swinging from a tree. Just ask Emmett Till. Emmett Till case is hilarious. Yeah. It's psychotic. But it's like you're telling me in a world like that I am betraying you for not voting for some dusty cunted bitch like Hillary Clinton. and I said like man, y'all better be glad I didn't have my driver's license available, at the moment. Come over there to fucking LA, and that would have been the end of your shit, man. That would be like what that guy said in Infinite Warfare. Their world is dying, ours is beginning. Fuck this noise. But yeah, I actually have like several things to say, because several things been happening this week in politics and in the news and stuff. It's just, first off, I want to just kind of. I'm gonna give my friend British James some backup on the Switch on the Nintendo Switch, but that's coming after I say this. I want to just say, like, recently that thing that happened in Chicago, I saw y'all's live stream about that, and I agree with every single thing. It's just it blows my mind that something like that was allowed to happen.
Well, kids make stupid mistakes.
Oh, don't even. No, it's not even like kids make stupid mistakes. It's that it's like, okay, it would be bad enough if I just heard somewhere, if I just read somewhere that these 4 black people kidnapped a white man, held him for 48 hours, scalped him, beat him, forced him to eat shit out of a toilet, and then live filmed the stuff and made him say fuck Donald Trump on live TV while y'all was doing live Facebook while y'all was doing this. That would be bad enough, and that would just be making me going like that would just be making me like recoil in terror. Like, but what made me kind of just really was when really just kind of become disgusted was when they said on the news that this guy was what the news reporter referred to as a man-child, and what one of the cops referred to as a man-child, and that this guy apparently has like a child's level of intelligence.
Yeah,
and they did this they told him that he was going to go to a sleepover to lure him out. So I'm imagining this guy must have the mind of like a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old or something.
Yeah.
To have the inhumanity is the only word I have to even describe it. It's like I don't even have any other word to describe it. To be as inhuman, to be as bestial, to be as predatory as to grab a mentally retarded person, scalp them, beat them, make them eat shit, and then force them to say that they hate their own race of people. And then your reasoning for it is that, oh, well, it's because they did something bad to us 100 years ago. Yes, they did something bad to us. They did that to us. Why are you doing it back? That's not making us look good. That's making us look like the motherfuckers that did that to us 40 years ago. Again, like, nigga, Google Emmett Till.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus Christ. And I remember saying, like, I remember thinking to myself, like, saying, like, I, like, almost want to fucking apologize just for Al Sharpton, for God's sake, said the whole damn thing. He's a black nationalist. And he said, like, just this is despicable, this is unspeakable. And I completely agree. It was just the most unbelievable thing I had ever heard in my whole damn life. The most unbelievable, unimaginable, terrible thing. But that was only like one of the things I heard about. Like when I read about that, what do you call it, the Wichita massacre. And when I heard about that, like that was, my jaw plummeted. I could not believe that something like that had happened. I was just like, Jesus God. Same here. Jesus God above. What on earth?
Oh yeah, that made what happened in Chicago. Where did that autistic thing happen? That was that in Chicago?
Yeah.
The Wichita Massacre makes that Chicago episode.
It makes it look like an episode of SpongeBob. It's like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. It's like it's one of those things where it's like I would almost argue that these aren't black people doing it, because I would almost argue that these aren't fucking human beings doing it. Like this is like we done stumbled upon some sort of like y'all remember there was this
Gene Stealer cult.
No, there was this TV show back a long time ago, and I forgot what it was called. I believe it was called Dominant Species, where they discovered that there was a new species of human that were evolving, that were stronger than us and stuff, but they were vastly more violent than us, and they were the cause of like all the serial killers in the world. And I was thinking to myself, well, maybe it was a book series and not a TV series. But anyway, I remember thinking to myself, like, maybe that guy was right. Like, Jesus Christ, maybe we done stumbled on like this new species of just dark-skinned primate-like creatures that resemble humans. Yeah. That, because Jesus God.
Yeah, so if you read, for anyone who's interested, I mean, if you read the Wichita Massacre, if you read the account of it,
get a drink.
Talk about inhumanity. It's hard to read, to be honest.
Get a drink and then read it.
Yeah, and then drink the drink.
Yeah. No. Smoke some coke, read it, drink a drink, because you're gonna need it. You gonna need it. I googled it.
Make sure nothing breakable is nearby.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But the other thing I was going to talk about was that to lift everyone's spirits a little bit, that thing that happened at the press conference where Trump just threw that motherfucker out.
Yeah.
I was applauding so goddamn hard. I think I hurt
Oh,
I think I hurt my wrist. I got carpal tunnel now.
I saw that live, and I'm like, yeah.
I saw that live too, and I was I saw that live too, and I like literally like I was up doing a fucking Daniel Bryan in my goddamn basement. Like yeah, nigga is like fucking the Detroit Bryant. But it's like I was waiting for somebody to finally do that. Just say it's like a movie scene where just say like get him out of here, you know, and Kevin Spacey would yell that or something, and then the security guards would like drag the bad guy off. You know, I was waiting for that. It is amazing to me how the media in this country has manipulated people and has manipulated people, has broken people down, and has used individual like I was talking to my mother earlier today about this, and she was saying this like we was watching was supposed to be a protest of people protesting the lack of minimum wage, which I agree with. I agree that the lack of a realistic minimum wage in this country is a problem. But then I'm not as far right as y'all, even though I'm a Trump supporter. I'm kind of more. I'm a little more centrist, I guess, than y'all. But that's, you know, we ain't gonna get into an argument about that, you know.
That's okay. I got a lot of people on here.
No,
I had a tranny on. Just
even there's okay. I'm gonna sound like an absolute dork here, but how many of you guys know the band Stryper?
I do. The Christian.
Christian metal band.
Oh, I heard of that.
From the 80s.
I don't know. I can't name their music, but
well, they recently they're back together. They make music still now, and they're actually just as good now as they were in the 80s. Their new albums, they intentionally tried to sound like the 80s hair metal stuff. They actually had a song on their latest album that came out last year called Big Screen Lies. And it was all about how the media is controlling.
That was what I was getting at. What I wanted to talk about was that these people were protesting the lack of a minimum wage, and they were black people protesting the lack of a minimum wage. Okay, so far I'm kind of down with this.
Mm-hmm.
Who they blaming for it? Just a wild guess.
Rich white people.
Trump.
He is one.
Trump.
Donald Trump. And my mother was
the guy who got into politics a year and a half ago.
Exactly.
And has just now been elected into office.
My mother was saying
and has not yet taken office.
This motherfucker wasn't a politician. He wasn't even friends with politicians until about 3 years ago. And you're trying to tell me that he is somehow responsible for a problem. Okay, here's something, and she said this to me, and we was driving to McDonald's, and don't ask, long story. We was going to Walmart. We was going to hit McDonald's on the way there because we live in Detroit, and Walmart is out in Livonia, so it's like an hour and a half drive, an hour and a half back. That was a whole day. That was an adventure. Okay, that's that's like we were playing that song from the Chipmunks movie, Off to See the World, while we was leaving.
God.
It was y'all don't know. We was climbing in a balloon about to get chased by the Mexican authorities. Like you don't know, so she said to me like, Barack Obama was in office for 8 goddamn years. Why didn't he fucking use an executive order to fucking fix this problem?
Yeah.
Why did
he was certainly willing to use an executive order to do literally everything else.
He was willing to use an executive order to push through all kinds of bullshit, to use all kinds of manipulative bullshit to push through Obamacare. Why couldn't these people push through this?
Yeah.
Because they want to keep us down. They want to use us, the poor, but also black people. They want to use us as, and I said this so many times, but it's just the way I feel. It's ammunition in a gun that they're using in some goddamn culture war. Mm-hmm. And as soon as the shell casing is expended, fuck it, it's on the floor, it's gone. Yeah. And once they found some new ammunition they could use, that was the Mexicans and the Hispanics. They was gonna bring them all over in here and use them. And fuck us, fuck you, fuck all of that. And that's what all this was about. And the media has shifted this to such a huge degree that it is now like a lot of people are angry about like John Lewis talking about Barack Obama. My mom was actually more angry about it than I was, because I was saying like I'm willing to give this nigga some slack because he been through like you look up this people. You look up a picture of this guy on Google, and the first thing you find is him laying on the ground with blood coming out of his head because some white guy standing over him with a 2x4. I give this nigga some slack because he been through shit that I can't begin to imagine and shit. You know what I mean? That being said, he is being manipulated and used like a shield by these people who do not care about him at all. They don't care about him. They don't care about black people. They don't care about what they've been through. They don't care about what he's been through. All they care about is Harry Reid and his friends trying to keep some power, and George Soros, that's the one that's really behind it. You damn well know. Trying to keep power, trying to manipulate people, trying to run, you know, Hillary Clinton works for Barack Obama. Barack Obama worked for George Soros, and George Soros worked for someone that's too rich and too powerful to ever come out and talk to us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this is all about. And this poor man is being manipulated and used like a human shield. And the only way I can describe it is that like it's like at the end of one of those action movies where the villain is holding the love interest in front of him with a gun. Now imagine if she was yelling at the hero and telling him like, no, don't shoot him. That's racist.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That is literally what's going on here. Where it's like,
Well, my question is, does anyone think that Hillary Clinton gives a fuck about anybody other than herself?
no, she's a complete
No one with a half a brain does.
No, even they ain't retarded people to think that she gives a shit about. She's a complete sociopath. Complete sociopath.
Yeah.
Like, and but okay, but and the last thing I'm gonna say before I go over to the Switch, because I got something to say about that, but that's a whole nother deal. I told y'all about StarDestroyer.net and how I used to hang out there. I ain't been on there in a decade, but like how I used to hang out there. I went over, decided to check them out after that Chicago thing, and after everything that's happened, and after the election and stuff like that, and you didn't hear a peep from these people. They got 300 pages about Donald Trump and how we can start revolutions against like Rosie O'Donnell said about how we can start revolutions about Donald Trump and use our mind powers to destroy Donald Trump and stuff.
They still believe this?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
they still believe it, nigga, please. But you know,
no. Mind bullets.
No, it's not even mind bullets. It's the what was it that one of them said to me one time? The howling force of my thoughts searing away my enemies. And I was like,
feel the warp overtaking me.
Right, exactly. You said that he said the howling force of my thoughts searing away my enemies. And I said, motherfucker, you sound like you done walked out of the golden throne or something. What the fuck are you talking about?
Is this your straitjacket that you dropped?
Oh, jeez.
Here, hold out your arms. I'm gonna get you situated in this.
I can't believe I ever used to hang out with those motherfuckers. Other than the fact that like I like Star Wars, I like the Warhammer 4000, and I used to be an atheist, and those are the only three things that used to connect me to those people. And when one of those fell away, I was gone. Gone, nigga, gone. They were like, well, James, what do you think? And then they turned around. It was just like a smoke cloud shaped like me, and the fire going out the end.
I like that.
Anyway, on to something a little less depressing than the idiocy of the mass media and the confounding bestial cruelty of these niggas in Chicago. The shift. The shift of the Switch. Which is the shift of the Switch? Switch. Whatever. I call it the NX. Fuck it. The NX.
Yeah.
By the way, if y'all have trouble referring to me like it's James or British James or Black James, feel free to just call me asshole, because people have been calling me that gaming asshole for the last like decade.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
No, but seriously, the NX. So the thing about that is that, like, okay. So the problem with Nintendo is that they have long lost the capacity to even be like, because you were saying like, oh, it's not necessarily that they losing or winning, it's that they trying to make a profit. They have long fallen out of any sort of category where they could be said to do any three of those things. Nintendo has become surviving only because Nintendo exists now only because of the movie Bobs of the world and people like me who are little too overly generous to them, and every so often I buy one of their consoles. I bought a Wii, and I still don't know what the fuck I did, why I did that, but like it's one of the
It was
things.
a fad at the time. Beyond the gaming world, that was like the pet rock of 2006.
It really was. But beyond that, though, but that's my point, though, is that that's all Nintendo has become, isn't it? Is that they've just become a fad. They become, you know what Nintendo has become? They become a relic of like, hey, you guys remember the 90s? And I'm the guy that should be like that more than anything. Because like I say it like right now, I say it and I say it again, God almighty, I miss the 90s. If I had my way, if you told me right now, like, you like, here's a red pill, here's a blue pill. You take the red pill and you'll be awakened to the real world. You take the blue pill, you'll travel back to 1998, and every year you'll just wake up. It'll be like 1/14/98 over and over again. Yeah, like not Groundhog Day, more like Groundhog Year. Groundhog Year, but yeah.
I'd take that blue pill.
Oh yeah, I take it. Actually, I want to go a little bit further back. I want to go back to 1993 because that's when all the people in my family weren't dead and stuff. But
I'm just thinking, I owned a Nintendo 64, so that brings back
the thing about it though is that right, it's like there's no such thing as like, it's not like Nintendo is still trying to fight the war. They're still trying to fight a console war and saying like, oh, they don't want to be a winner, they don't want to be a loser, they just want to make money. That's just not realistic. They still trying to fight a goddamn console war. They still trying to fight the thing because they still think it's back in 1995 and all they got to do is overpower Sega and then they can dominate the market. And that was back when it was back then where they could go to these companies. They could go to Capcom and Konami and they could go to whatever, J Company or whatever. And they could go to them and say like, oh, you want to have a game on our console, do you, peasant? Well, first you have to sacrifice your firstborn to us. And now, it's like, you give us your child and then maybe we'll let you on. Maybe we'll let you on our Super Scope.
That was definitely true in the Wii era. I don't think that's what they are now.
No, it is now.
I don't see any evidence of them trying to.
Okay, not only is that true now, that's what they've always been, and they've been like this for years. And they think they still fighting Sega, except now they think they fighting Sony and Microsoft. And the thing that they don't seem to understand is that Sony and Microsoft aren't fighting each other anymore. There's no such thing as winning and losing and being profitable. It's just about making a buck, making a brand. It's just, ironically, it's exactly what Donald Trump has been doing his whole life, making a damn brand. Everybody knows what the PlayStation is. Everybody knows what the Xbox is. Everybody. And all these games, almost all of them are multi-platform, because what that means is that you can buy a PlayStation 4 and you can have every fucking game and a few exclusives, or you can buy an Xbox One and have every fucking game and a few exclusives. When you buy a Nintendo anything, fuck what it is, NX, whatever. When you buy a Nintendo anything, all you really have is exclusive games. And it's been like that since the start, and it was like that in the Wii. It was like that in the Wii U. Rest the soul.
The only time it wasn't so much like that was on the GameCube, because that had a lot more multiplats than usual. For Nintendo, they definitely had way more first parties and exclusives for sure, but they had a lot more multi-platform stuff on the GameCube.
But here's the thing, right? So what's really important though is that this is not going to change. This is not going to get any better for them, and they are always going to just be a brand until the day comes when they put aside this bullshit and just say like, we're not making, like, now they're trying to make a console that's like a handheld. In a world where there hasn't been a handheld console in years, there ain't no Game Boys and Game Gears and Game Genies and stuff anymore. Like everything now. Are
you fucking kidding me? Have you heard? Do you know what the sales number are for the 3DS?
No, I mean
30 fucking million.
You know what the sales number is for the iPhone? Because that's where everybody play their fucking game. Like, let's be fucking real. Like, not talking about no sales.
And you know where Nintendo is also putting new games? iPhones.
But that's my point. It's like that's all there is now.
They're changing.
It's just smartphones and tablets, and there is no handheld anymore. And now and that's the other thing. They always trying to make some kind of gimmick. So with the GameCube, it's like, oh look, we have these mini disc. What the fuck is that? And with the Wii, it was like, oh, we got the movement thing, and the Wii U had the tablet controller, and now this thing has this thing. Well, it's a handheld and it's a fuck that. For the love of God, Nintendo, just get a goddamn crate down a PC gaming platform, smack it into a plastic box, and put it out there and call it the NX, and stop all this bullshit, and stop calling it stuff like the Switch, and stop calling it stuff like the Wii U and the Dolphin and stuff, and just give it a goddamn name. Give it a name that's a word, motherfucker.
Like Xbox or PS4?
Yes, those are names.
Those
are brands, is what I meant to say, not names. Give it a brand,
Well, I think what he's trying to say.
I think you really just don't like Nintendo.
No, absolutely not. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, and anybody that disagrees with me can kiss my black ass, the SNES had the best video game library ever made. It was the best video library.
See, that's where you're wrong, because it was the GameCube.
I'm going to pretend you didn't say that, and I'm going to move on. But the SNES.
You want to fight? You want to fight me?
I will come through this computer like
I will.
Like
I'll bring it the hell on. I know Taekwondo.
I don't need no Taekwondo, man. I got a shotgun. I win, nigga. Please.
All right.
But no.
Look, all right, you nerds. You sit here fighting about it. And James, any other closing thoughts? Because I got to move on to another caller.
Oh, okay. Closing thoughts. Closing thoughts on here's the last thing I have to say. Just kind of a triple threat. I feel sorry for John Lewis for being used like a human shield by these motherfuckers that don't care about him. He's being manipulated, and I hope he gets over it. I don't feel sorry for Meryl Streep because frankly I would prefer if the only thing that they had on TV was mixed martial arts and football, because I like them. and I have no reason whatsoever to believe that the Swift or the Shift or the Switch or whatever the fuck it is going to make some money, but it's never going to save the brand of Nintendo until they stop making children's toys and make a motherfucking video game again, which they haven't done in a decade.
It's what they're doing now.
Yeah, if I'm being honest with you, as far as I'm concerned, Nintendo's the only one that really makes games anymore. Sony and Microsoft sell graphics and hype. There's nothing on the Xbox One. There's nothing on the PS4.
They sell graphics and hype, but the graphics and hype are to companies that make games.
Okay, what on those systems is anybody going to be playing in 10 years? Usually these games, nobody's playing them in 6 months. They're nothing but a bunch of Destinies. Nobody.
But people playing Destiny.
Nobody's playing Destiny anymore. Nobody gave a shit about Destiny 6 months after it came out.
There's a hardcore core.
Yeah, everything's going to have a hardcore little core of fucking, there's a hardcore little core of fans for gay Muslim furry romances. All right.
Well, there's Titanfall, Dead Rising. There's stuff like that that's popping up. And then frankly, Call of Duty and Battlefield are still in there. Uncharted is still holding on. Halo is still holding on.
Yeah, but those are all incredibly disposable. Nobody gives a shit about they're
incredibly disposable, except for the tens of millions of people that play them.
Nobody gives a shit about them 6 months after they come out, though. They've moved on to the latest thing that they'll promptly forget in 6 months.
Okay, James, you hate Nintendo too much. Bechtloff, you love Nintendo too much.
I don't hate Nintendo. Actually, I don't hate Nintendo. I used to love Nintendo. I used to be. Look, there was a reason I used to hang out with them people on SDN. Okay, like I used to be.
Yeah.
I used to be like another fat Nintendo fanboy. Okay, I was very much on that side of the spectrum. Okay, so I don't hate Nintendo. I just want to defend Nintendo from their own failings before they become an issue. It's not an issue.
I would have agreed with you. I would have agreed with you on all of that for the Wii U, but I think that the Switch, while it still is very gimmicky on the surface, it's a gimmick that's actually kind of useful. And I think that from what we saw, did you watch the press conference that they did the other day?
I did not know they did a press conference.
That's why we're so optimistic about it, because they basically showed off a ton of stuff that made it seem very much like they were taking a lot of the advice that you were just putting forward.
Believe me, I hope for a day when Nintendo dominates the market again like they used to, because I miss the 90s, and God Almighty, do I miss the SNES so goddamn bad.
Yeah.
I miss but but I feel that they moving into a dangerous territory where they don't know.
Check out the press conference and see. The beginning you'll probably not be convinced, but later on as it goes on, you maybe it might make you think of.
I'm going to check it out.
If you watch the press conference, and one thing I'll tell you is, obviously a lot of the Wii U is very poorly marketed. Nobody. I mean, I'm a Nintendo fanboy. I didn't even know it was a second console.
That's being generous.
In this press conference, they say the Nintendo Switch is our new console.
Yeah,
you plug it into a TV. That they literally said during this.
Everyone in the chat is screaming Skyrim, by the way.
Yeah, but
Skyrim is on it. But I mean that's.
But yeah, dude, the beginning of it is the remedial class. They're basically like no one can accuse us of not knowing what this is.
Mm-hmm. Like they kept the gyroscope and movement controls because everybody expects them now. But everything is designed to work with buttons, which is good.
Okay. That's the thing. Right now, I'm about to sign off and go play some Destiny. But no, but I'm partially half of that is true. One thing I want to say though is that I do take some criticism with y'all being so mean to gay Muslim furries. Gay Muslim furries, because as a straight Christian brony, I can say that there are times when your browser history doesn't speak as much to who you are as a man. Okay, and
we all go to weird places. Is that what?
We all go to weird places.
We all go to Westfield Daily every so often. And
I'm just saying, don't take those weird places and publish them as a novel and go on Slate. All right, James. Thanks for calling in. It's always good to have you on.
Peace out, man. I love hanging around with y'all.
Yeah, talk to you later, James.
Peace out.
That was fun.
All right, I'm gonna bring in our next caller. Who goes by Smashing Racism.
See, as he kept going, I'm like, he has not seen the Switch presentation yet, because a lot of what he was saying was definitely true for previous incarnations of Nintendo, but not so much with Switch. I think with Switch, he's going to be pleasantly surprised that they do seem to be learning a lot of those lessons.
Maybe Undertow's praying he's going to come back next week as a convert to Nintendo.
Bella, maybe not as a convert, but at least not so vitriolic.
The Switch definitely looks like an evolution of all the good things about the Wii and the Wii U.
And the 3DS.
Yeah, brought up to where it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Switch is basically what the Wii U should have been.
The Switch is basically them saying, okay, everything that we've done before succeeded in some way and failed in others. Let's just cut out all the parts that failed and just do the ways that were good. So, anyway.
All right. So, okay. So that's our next caller. What's on your mind, caller?
Hey, Bechtloff. Just want to say, first of all, this is my alt, so I'm kind of doxxed now. I go by Smashing Racism. Sorry, some faggots calling me on Skype. So sorry about that. Of course, the second I got on, I go by Smashing Racism. I made that video attacking you for being.
I did see that. Bechtloff is a Nazi Bulbasaur. That was very interesting video.
Yeah, that's was kind of my magnum opus right there. But what I really wanted to call about is, first of all, I wanted to say I've been following you for about 2.5 years. Watched every single video you made. They're all really awesome.
Well, thank you.
I did want to set the record straight on something, which I kind of just called in because I couldn't really keep silent about it too much longer, which sounds kind of gay. But the whole Catholicism thing and having just the way that you guys kind of talk about the Pope and stuff like that. I'm not like tone policing or anything like that. Don't worry. I just think you guys don't really understand Catholicism that well, and I think maybe if you had like a better understanding, I was hoping I could try to maybe give you a better understanding.
Okay, well, by all means, educate us.
I'm gonna go get a beer.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, the way that the papacy works, and I'm not trying to be condescending in this or anything like that. It's just I had the same misconceptions when I was a Protestant too. The way that the papacy works is that a pope there's two doctrines: the doctrine of papal infallibility and the doctrine of papal supremacy. Papal supremacy is something that Protestants really don't care about, since Protestants don't have bishops. Basically means that the Pope has authority over other bishops. The big thing Protestants have an issue with is the doctrine of papal infallibility, which says that under certain conditions and in matters of morals and doctrine, the Pope can define dogma whenever there's a controversy going on inside the church. So it doesn't mean that whatever the Pope says is infallible. It doesn't mean that the Pope is even always good. There are popes that are in hell right now. Rodrigo Borgia, he was a horrible pope. He's definitely in hell. So the thing about Pope Francis is, obviously he is verging on formal heresy with a lot of the stuff that he's saying, especially when he comes to praying with heretics, kissing Qurans and stuff like that, which is actually, according to canon law, that's actually heresy. So he is committing heresy by doing those things. He is committing a mortal sin, which basically damns you to hell in Catholicism, committing a mortal sin unless you get right with God after that. It's not really so I just didn't want people to be deceived into thinking that everything the Pope does is infallible, or that all popes are amazing moral authorities who never do anything bad. That's not what Catholics believe. Catholics believe that in certain circumstances, the Pope can speak infallibly in matters of doctrine, such as, which I know you're not going to agree with, like the dogmas of the Immaculate Conception and the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin, which are matters of doctrine that were defined in the 20th century by, I can't remember which Pope it was, but they were defined. Those were matters of doctrine and morals. When it comes to practice, when it comes to politics and stuff like that, the Pope has absolutely no authority to speak infallibly. So this sounds kind of like I don't want to pretend I'm like the teacher or kind of take this over, but like, do you have any questions or objections?
Well, no, nobody here, at least I don't think, said everything the Pope says is infallible according to Catholics. But as I was to understand it, that yes, on theological and moral issues, he is supposedly infallible. What exactly are these conditions? Because if I'm being honest with you, that sounds like the world's most convenient cop-out. Well, It almost sounds like what he says is infallible when he's saying something that's right.
Right. No, I was raised a Catholic. That's not what it means. Like, for example, should there be women priests? That's something that's up to the Pope to decide, something like that.
Oh, that's not even up to the Pope to decide, though, because that dogma has already been defined. And the Pope can never contradict previous dogma that's been defined. And if he does, then he's not speaking infallibly. He's a heretic.
How does one go about defining dogma, though? You said that something about the other guy had defined it in the 20th or something, or whatever.
20th century.
20th century. Thank you. But how did you know that that Pope was speaking infallibly then?
Okay, so there's four main conditions for a Pope's declaration to be infallible, and those four conditions are: one, the decision, it has to be a decision of the supreme teaching authority of the Church. So the Pope has to say that I'm speaking in the role as supreme teaching authority of the Church. Second, it needs to concern a doctrine of faith or morals, as I said. Third, it needs to bind the universal Church, which means that if, like the Pope says that, like this is a good example, using back in the 1700s, using snuff while you were serving mass, like tobacco snuff, was considered, you'd be excommunicated for doing that in this particular diocese in like Spain. But that did not bind the universal Church, so that's not an infallible rule or anything like that.
So basically, I think I figured it out from this. So basically, the Pope is only speaking infallibly when he's nailing down something that was nebulous.
Exactly. Like it's okay. There's never been really like a time in history, in the history of the Roman Catholic Church, or as I would call it, the Church, where there's just been something out of the blue that the Pope has said, okay, we're going to start believing this. It's been something that's been debated, like the Immaculate Conception and the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Those were things that were being debated for almost 1,000 years before they were being declared infallible. It's basically, it's having that option of having just a final living authority that you can go to settle a dispute. And I think it's like,
And then once they settle it, the decision sticks.
Okay.
exactly,
Well, you said he doesn't have authority on political issues.
exactly. He doesn't have, I'm sorry. Sorry, go ahead.
The problem with that is the line between moral and political issues is not a clear black and white one. Certainly politics, especially for someone more libertarian minded as me, certainly, the state is a bit different than the church, but there's always a blur between the two. So let's say, for instance, that, many people would define the immigration issues as a moral issue, either on either side, morally defending your people or morally helping your fellow man, what have you. So what exactly is to stop this inherently open borders guy from, because I'm sure there's liberal Catholic churches that are arguing, you have to, whatever. What exactly is to stop him from coming down and making a Catholic stance against having borders, basically?
From a Catholic perspective, as someone who was a Catholic, we believe the Holy Spirit preserves the church, that a pope will never speak heresy ex cathedra, so a pope will never declare an infallible teaching that's a heresy because the Holy Spirit guides the church. But from like a stance of church law, it would kind of be really hard for him to do that because there's stuff in the Bible that explicitly sets up borders, like the Tower of Babel, for instance. There's a passage in Romans that says, and he has assigned each nation to its own borders and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. I've had to have this argument with other Christians too.
Right. But in terms of,
he can't contradict what the scriptures say.
He can't contradict what the scriptures say. No, if it's like that's the big thing, which I'm not sure if you're aware of. This is pretty big in Catholic circles. I'm actually a member of the Society of St. Pius X. I go to one of their churches, which is a lot more traditional than your Roman Catholic Church down the street. One of the big issues that's going on now is that there were 4 cardinals who presented something called a dubia to the Pope because the Pope wrote a document called Amoris Laetitia, which basically said that, or it was very vague and seemed to encourage people who have been divorced and remarried to take Holy Communion, which is considered to be living in a state of adultery in the Roman Catholic Church because marriage is a final thing. It's a binding thing for all of human life. And so what these cardinals are doing is they presented a dubia, which is basically, it means doubt, which is asking the Pope questions about what he was stating in that. He ignored that. And so the Pope ignored that. And so what they're doing now, and after the Feast of Advent, I believe, no, not Advent, after the Feast of Christmas and Epiphany and all that stuff, what the cardinals are going to do are they are going to basically demand that the Pope answer these questions to determine whether he's holding to a heresy or not. And if he is holding to a heresy, there is actually a way in Roman Catholic law, the canon law, by which the cardinals can correct the Pope if he holds a heretical view. And they are planning to do that if he doesn't answer the questions according to the teaching of the Church.
Interesting. I find this very enlightening.
Yeah, but
I'm writing all of this down for my 40K RPGs, just so you know.
Okay, yeah.
Like I go to a Society of St. Pius X church. It's very, very traditional. Like the priest literally from the pulpit said, if you vote, like before the election, if you vote for Hillary Clinton, you'll be guilty of a mortal sin, and you need to make a confession because you'll be going to hell.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. That's wow. That's pretty cool.
Is this church local to me? I might join.
Unfortunately, I'm on the opposite end of the country. I'm in Florida, but
North Florida.
Yeah, I went to SU, so you and I are like national enemies under toe. So
yeah, I have mentioned I am a Gator, but I don't watch any of the sports balls, so I don't care.
No, me neither. There was another question I wanted to ask. Can I just beat myself real quick while I think of it?
Sure. Go ahead.
I thought for a second there he said, "Can I just beat myself off?"
I thought that.
Excuse me. I was like,
oh, sure. Go ahead. You're not on camera.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing that for half of the stream.
I remember what the question was. The question was, are you guys? This is more towards Undertow because I know Bechtloff doesn't really play PC games that much. But are you aware of the new Obsidian CRPGs like Pillars of Eternity and Tyranny?
I'm aware of them. I never played any of them because I heard that post New Vegas, for one thing, they've lost Chris Avallone, and for another thing, they've gone full pause. So I don't really look at new Obsidian games anymore. Sorry.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend Pillars of Eternity.
Really?
Tyranny. There's a few. There's like a lesbian couple in one of them, but it's like it's just something that's there. It's not like even talking.
They don't shove it down your face.
Yeah, they're
No
really,
pun intended.
they're really excellent games. I mean, I grew up kind of after the era of the whole Baldur's Gate when that was coming out.
Yeah. I mean, like
really
even New Vegas had some gay characters, but they were tastefully done where it was like more believable. Because, I mean, yeah, the guys at Obsidian were probably still pretty left leaning, but they weren't there to make a statement. They were just there because it was like an interesting character trait.
Yeah,
So in other words, it was actual storytelling.
Yeah, basically. Like one of them was Arcade Gannon, who spoilers, by the way, for New Vegas if you haven't played this, but him being gay actually got him in a lot of trouble because he and his family were members of the Enclave, which in the previous Fallout games was basically the bad guys. They were the holdouts of the U.S. government, so anyway, yeah, and it was like worked into a story that actually did get him in trouble, and that's why he wasn't with them anymore, and that's why he was out on his own and would follow you around as a companion character, because that was what got him to, So I don't mind that, when it's like, wow, look at this, aren't we so tolerant? Aren't we amazing? Look how great they are because they're gay. Like, BioWare.
Yeah, you might really enjoy Tyranny.
I do like the concept. Tyranny is an RPG set in sort of a classic fantasy world where the bad guy already won.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's like constantly saying, "Oh, hail the Dark Lord" or whatever, and then they're like all stabbing each other in the back, trying to rise through the ranks and everything because everybody's a bad guy. That's definitely interesting to me.
Yeah, it was kind of the pause stuff they put in there. I have a pretty sensitive filter for that kind of stuff because I just don't want it in my life,
Yeah.
But they put more women in positions of authority than they needed to as like soldiers and stuff like that. But they were just stuff is just always there. It's not like, oh, look at this. But in terms of gameplay and story, it was very, very good. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I got a question for Undertow, Bechtloff, and Luke. If just curious, has he kind of changed your views on Catholicism? Are you or you still
I didn't really think anything about Catholicism, to be honest. I just kind of went along with whatever Bechtloff was saying to get a rise out of people, especially people like Davis. He's fun to poke.
What about you?
I mean, a lot of that. I never had the idea that the Pope was infallible all the time. To me, he's not infallible at all. But that Catholics considered him infallible all the time, because that's just demonstrably ridiculous, and you're not going to end up being that big. But it did clarify a little bit what exactly, because again, and this could just be that a lot of Catholics don't know their stuff, but trying to hammer it home with a lot of Catholics, it often sounded like, well, he's infallible when he's infallible. Well, what about all the times he was wrong? Well, that didn't count. It sounded like they were playing games with me. And this did hammer it home a little more clear, and it was interesting.
Yeah, for Luke out there, I used to be a Calvinist, actually. I used to go to a Calvinist church and stuff like that. But if you guys ever wanted to do like a hangout with like Davis, some of the more people interested in theology on like theological topics, kind of like a discussion or debate, I'd be happy to join. I'll be a bit more coherent. I'm a bit like starstruck now since I've been like such a big fan for 2.5 years. But.
Well, I appreciate
I'm afraid that if we did that, I would just end up asking all kinds of weird questions about like the more mythological stuff, like thrones and the Sephiroth and all that kind of weird, like the weird theological stuff. So.
Oh yeah, I can talk about that. I was in Kabbalah for a while too. So.
Ooh.
Well, I certainly appreciate the starstruck comment because that's both honoring and humbling. But
You know how you said, like, if you met Oliver Queen in real life or whatever the actor in real life,
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, it's Oliver Queen. That'd be me if I like this kind of gay. But like, if I met you in real life, I would be like, honestly.
Hey, like I said, I've literally said that. I've said if I met Stephen Amell, I would scream like a 13-year-old girl, "Oh my God, it's Oliver Queen!" Like I would be like, "Oh my God, it's Oliver Queen!"
Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna sign off. I don't really have too much more to add. So.
All right, I appreciate it. We just got one more story I want to talk about before we wrap up. Luke, I sent it to you on Skype. You can bring up pictures from it. This was kind of 2017, claiming one of its earliest celebrities, a very D-list celebrity. But the Toronto Sun has reported, this is off Niche Gamer, by the way, that Canadian actor and comedian Tony Rosetta has died at the age of 62. He is best known to gamers as the voice of Luigi in the Mario Brothers cartoons.
Oh no, Mario! What are we gonna do?
Now this is interesting, and they throw this as a side note in this short little article. And this was something where I'm like, I really want to know a lot more about this guy. Risotto was originally born in Italy, immigrated to Canada at the age of 4. He became a regular on Canada. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, later in life, he was diagnosed with Capgras delusion, a health condition that made him believe his wife and daughter had been supplanted by imposters. And then the article just goes, and then the article's just like, his role as Luigi in the animated series became a day.
Wait, go back! Go back! You can't just gloss over that.
You can't just skip over that like you didn't just fucking tell me that.
Actually, that can be induced by a certain type of TBI that separates the way the auditory and visual things work in your head.
Apparently, because I had to after reading that, I looked into this.
No, it's not actually. I mean, it's funny because we're just joking about it, but it's a real thing, and it is.
Yeah, it's a real.
Obviously, yeah.
And I looked into it. Apparently, what causes it is
traumatic brain injury.
Yeah, it's brain injury, something like that, something along those lines, and it causes you, and you usually fixate, and a lot of times it happens. A lot of times you'll fixate on a pet, even because unless sometimes that's something you have the most interaction with, but it causes something to be like slightly off in your auditory and visionary, like that person appears slightly off to you.
Wow.
Like to you, their voice isn't quite right or something like that,
Wow.
And I mean, it's tragic. I can't, that's a terrible thing.
There's sad stories where it happens to parents where they thought their children were like that. They treated them as such.
That's horrible. But it was so weird that it's like, here's this obituary of this actor, and okay, he was in this cartoon that certainly guys my age remember fondly, even though it wasn't really that good. But and it's become a meme and all this stuff. But okay, yeah, and then it's like, oh, and by the way, here's this, and then they just skip over it in this Niche Gamer article, and I'm like, wait, what? I'm not reading The Onion by mistake, am I? Like, you don't just gloss over that.
Well, I guess they figure everybody just says Google, so they'll look it up. So.
Yeah.
Well, I sure did. I'm like, wait, what now? But yeah, that's it seemed like a decent guy, so that's a shame, and certainly a terrible affliction to have. So yeah, rest in peace, Luigi. Press F for respect here. But yeah, I had to share that, if for no other reason than the way that little article is written. It's on Niche Gamer, by the way. I think it's just cartoon Luigi voice actor Tony Rosa dies at 62. Niche Gamer is basically like a blog. It's not even like a real site. But yeah, that was damn. You're just gonna gloss over that like you didn't just tell me that. All right, well, that's about all I got for tonight, folks. Any of you guys got some closing thoughts?
Blessed is the mind that is too small for doubt. The Emperor protects.
All All right. Well, it's a pretty good week, pretty good show. Thanks everybody for listening. That's about all I got for this week. Bechtloff out.